Hey everyone! Welcome back to the Nintendo Prime Podcast, Season 2, Episode 28. We have an almost full panel today. It's been a bit of an odd one for starters. My thoughts go out to Andres Restart, who's been dealing with some issues with his cat. It does sound like Ruby's going to be okay, but it's been a very trying time, and that's all I can really say about that. So good luck working on your content, man, and trying to catch up after taking some time off to take care of your pet. That being said, we do have a nice crew here. For starters, someone in the Green Bay Packers shirt is back. How's it going, Eric?
Good.
It's about time.
Yeah, right.
Man, it's been like once in the last month.
Yeah,
Something
it's
like
been
that.
2 weeks for sure.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if I had missed the one before that.
I think you saw, we're at the one 3 weeks ago, and then you missed the one before that. Anyway.
Yeah, it's been a while.
You're a semi-regular, and then
Yeah,
then you're vanishing again. Like what, after next week?
Yeah, possibly. depending on if we do
depending if I move it. So woo!
You're right.
Eric, the semi-regular.
Yeah, no, I did work and then sick.
Here, let's just so you're here. Let's just go right into introduction. Then what have you been playing lately? Let's just get that done at the same time. What have you been playing lately? Well, that's a Switch.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, okay.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
In the Goron area. So.
Are you in the Goron mines?
Yeah.
Or are you there yet?
No, I'm in Goron City. I'm
Okay.
just getting to.
Working your way. Working your way. I had more fun working my way to that dungeon than doing the dungeon. That was maybe my least. I might even say least favorite. I just legitimately don't like the Goron mines. So maybe you love it. You're gonna go through. Maybe you're gonna go through it and be like, "That's my favorite dungeon in this game right now."
It's possible. I don't know. I've only done one other one, so I don't really have anything else to base it on.
Nate, did you play it? Did you run around with like a Zonite machine, or did you like actually? Oh, I'm gonna ride.
I legit try to do it. Dude, I ain't cheat. I legit. I annoying.
Your sentiment is valid then.
It's bad. It's bad. It's just bad. It's just not a good dungeon. I can understand why anyone would want to just Zonite device and just. It's bad. It's not fun. It's just not it's just not fun. But here's the funny thing about the Goron Mines and Tears of the Kingdom is it's very much designed like some other Zelda dungeons that I really don't like from the past. So, I'm not really surprised that another one of these type of overly convoluted but so simple dungeons is in this one. But it's all right. It is what it is. The funny thing is, if you guys remember the trailers for Tears of the Kingdom, this is one of the ones I was most excited for. Oh, the riding minecarts. Oh, he's fighting an enemy that's trying to knock him off. It looks so badass. And then you actually do it, and you're like, this isn't that fun. Damn it. It looks so cool in the trailer.
Yeah.
It's one of those awesome trailer shot, not great gameplay.
That was definitely my least favorite one. Out of all the temples, that was my least favorite.
You guys are disappointing me. That's the last one I have.
Nice. Well, you never know. Here's the thing. It's not the last one you have. I'll tell you that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. There's
the last one you have.
Yeah.
That being said, I might as well just go now. I've been talking about Tears of the Kingdom. I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, I joined this thing called the Review Crew, and so apparently I review games once a month, and we're doing Tears of the Kingdom first. So my entire plan of I'm not gonna beat the story until next year. Well, that just got shot. So I've just been bum rushing to get to the end. I'm pretty much there. Just completed the 5th dungeon, so yeah, I'm basically there. But I stopped because, I have this feeling with my 12 hearts and my non-upgraded gear and my crappy weapons that I might get Shrek'd a lot coming up. So I don't think this last section is going to be like a little quick half hour and done. It might take me a couple hours of getting Shrek'd before I finally get good. That's what I hope. To be fair, not a single Zelda boss has killed me yet in this game. So... But I've heard there's a difficulty spike, and I'm looking forward to it. So I can't wait.
Yeah,
I can't wait. It's gonna be
basically
crazy.
Expect the time sink of a 6th dungeon. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. So let's. Yeah.
I was watching your stream, and you say you're screaming through it, but man, you took forever to solve. There was a puzzle where there was a tower, and you had to move the scales up and down. You were trying to find all these objects to put on it. I'm like, you could just pull the actual weight itself down and then just reverse time it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. There's a reason I don't do that. For part of my playthrough that I've been doing, I've been just cheating all the shrines and everything with recall. And I started realizing it's such a cheap ability that it sort of takes away some of the fun, because you can almost solve every puzzle with a combination of master hand and recall. Like, it just legitimately solves a whole bunch of shit. And I'm just kind of like, look, they clearly meant for you to put weights on it. I'm going to make this work. Just because I don't know why the boxes kept dropping. Why it would just cancel my. I'm like, why is my master hand canceling? I moved like a centimeter.
It was really funny.
The ground is slightly uneven. Like, just stop. Anyways, because I only needed 2 of them. Yeah. And of course, they all break by one. Anyway, it's whatever. I obviously got it, but so done. I know. And trust me, I was reading the chat. The chat was roasting me so bad, and I'm just like, guys, I know that you could cheese it. I just don't want to cheese it. Like, it's too. I've been cheesing a lot, and I know if I'm bum rushing, well, you should do it the quickest way. I'm like, look, I play how I play. You play how you play it. Look, I could build mega mechs and have them wreck everything in the game. Like, let's just be real.
That would be really fun. Yeah. I made a homing missile in one. Like, it shoots up, and then there's like the turret one that looks for stuff. And so you put a rocket on top of that thing. So it shoots. And if it shoots close enough to an enemy, the turret finds it and activates the second rocket and throws it into its. It's amazing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
anyways.
So I've been playing lots of Tears of the Kingdom, and tomorrow I will beat the story. Well, I mean,
hopefully.
Look, I plan for it to be like a couple hours, but like if the stream turns into an 8-hour marathon because I keep dying that much, I might not beat it tomorrow. But I'm pretty confident in my gaming ability that when I beat my head against the wall enough, I eventually crash through it. So we'll see what happens. And you know what? Everyone warning me, maybe they just suck. And I go in there and I just breeze right through. And I'm just like, I don't get what the big deal was. Guy didn't even touch me. Anyways, we'll see. We'll see. I don't want to get too cocky just because after I spent all this time figuring out how to fight an ice Gleeok, and then I faced a flame Gleeok for my first time on stream, and I'm like all worried about it because it's like it's on the bridge, it's gonna knock me off, blah blah blah, and then I just easily take it out like it was nothing, and I'm just like, you know what, like maybe I'm just better at this game than I give myself credit for. And to be fair, I am at the end of the game with like 12 hearts, so like a lot of people I see this late game, we got 15, we got 20, we got 25. I'm like, nah, I just got 12. I'm used to pretty much everything in the game will one-shot me if I screw up at this point, so it's whatever. I'm fighting the boss. Oh, it's got a charge attack. Yeah, when that queen thing hits me, it'll kill me. Like I still didn't die, so almost though. I was within a quarter heart at one point, and I was like, oh shit. Like I'm just like, damn it. Oh, good thing I popped that defense potion like literally 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, right.
Because otherwise I would have died. Anyways, let's you know what, Flam, you were just speaking. Let's have you go. Welcome. Yeah. Who are you? Well, it's your second time here, and then after you get through your, you can confess how much of a professional Nintendo simp you are by telling me what you played lately.
Of course. Hi, my name's Favlam. You can call me Austin or Favlam or Flam, whatever works for you. I do Nintendo variety content on Twitch, twitch.tv/Favlam, if you could guess. I also do a lot of game shows. I do like collaborative content. That's kind of my thing. Love having other people on, finding new people, and lots of game shows. The most recent thing is we do like a Mario Party tournament. So that's to give you an example. Nice. But what I've been playing recently is I've been playing a lot of Pokemon TCG Live. Here, I'm holding my phone up. I've climbed halfway up the rank tree in a day and a half. That's how obsessed with it I've been. And yeah, it's been fun. I've enjoyed it. And I organized my card collection. I was talking about this before the stream because I was looking for these bad boys, these little QR codes of that give you more good stuff in the app, in the game. Because I have a massive card collection. I also pulled out a lot of the cards that I can use in real life because I'm going to start going to locals and whatnot. So less video gamey, still technically video game, but yeah, that's been my week. And then I know next week and the week after I have a lot of travel to do, so I'm going to definitely get back into like Pikmin 4 is going to be
Pikmin 4.
I played the demo finally, and I'm so excited for the game. It's going to be so hype. It's going to be so hype. I'm excited.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Fusion 64, welcome back for the first time in probably a year at this point. It's been so long. How you doing, bud?
I think it was like 6 months ago, maybe.
Oh,
How's it
maybe.
going?
I don't know.
How's it going?
Dude, my days blend together.
Yeah, right.
Feels like it's been 5 years.
Hope everybody scored some good stuff on Prime Day. I happened to pick up Persona 5 Royale for Switch, Bayonetta Origins, and this bad dog just came in the mail.
Oh,
Pretty excited.
Nice.
Ah.
And by the way, out of nowhere, it wasn't a Prime Day deal. They
No, it wasn't a Prime
magically
Day deal, it just
no,
finally-
but
It finally
like,
showed up.
Tears of the Kingdom, they discounted to $51, but was not a Prime Day deal. I just out of nowhere, I'm like, what is
Right.
why? All right, cool. You don't have Tears of the Kingdom, no excuse.
Yeah, really.
Now it's cheaper than
It's cheaper than
should've
six,
been, or
Yeah.
should have been.
quote unquote. So yeah, so if you say quote unquote should have been, it's one of the fastest selling Nintendo games of all time. Clearly, it was priced correctly for all the bitching. Cool. What have you been playing lately?
Oh, I've been playing a ton of stuff. Some Splatoon 3, the Sizzle season, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
I am hooked on like cosmetic stuff in game, and so like in part of this battle pass, their catalog they call it. There's all like a bunch of retro Nintendo systems, Game and Watch, NES.
Mhm.
So I'm like, all right, well, I got to kind of grind out to get this stuff. So been playing a bunch of that. Final Fantasy 16 came out a few weeks ago, so I'm like 30 hours into that.
Yeah.
The story in that game is amazing. Boss battles are amazing, but everything kind of in between is just, it's okay.
That's what I've heard.
It's like there's tremendous highs and then it kind of gets
Mhm.
back down, and then so like you get done with a great boss battle and like some really heavy story, and then you're going back to your base and you're doing like fetch quests and a lot of monotonous stuff, and it's
Yeah.
but it's really good. I love it. It's really good.
Nice.
And then of course Tears of the Kingdom. I just got the Master Sword today, so that was exciting.
Oh,
Awesome moment.
Big point in the story. That's
Yeah.
Definitely.
Don't say it anymore.
Definitely. No, I won't. Definitely. I didn't want to ruin it for
Yeah.
I'm just like, I've been trying to slowly chip away at it because I haven't gotten spoiled by the ending because, everybody said
Oh,
that
nice.
I don't know how I
the
haven't
ending
been
part
spoiled.
is like, it like makes it go from like a 9 to a 10 basically. And
Yeah, I've heard it's one
I'm
of the
just trying to
greatest
get there.
endings ever, and I'm like, cool. That's all I want to know.
right.
Yeah.
So I'm like 120 hours into that. I think I got like 95 shrines. So I'm getting there. I'm almost there. I have Goron City left to do myself. So
Been biting my tongue this whole time you guys are talking about Tears of the Kingdom. I'm just like, oh man.
it's so
Can't wait
good.
for them to finish. Whenever we can finally have like a spoiler cast about it, I'm so ready.
Yeah. Well, let me just tell you, I'm about
that
to
might
be.
be the
that might be
next
next
2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here like pretty sure that once I beat the game here this week, spoiler cast is happening pretty quickly after because I'm going to want to talk.
Oh yeah.
What's great about that game is like you can play it for 20 minutes and knock out a shrine or
Yep.
do anything else, or you can play it for 8 hours straight.
It's weird that it's an
Stuff.
open world game that you could just be like a 20-minute session and be good. It's so weird.
Right, because usually
Nice,
open world
though.
games, like I don't even want to, unless I have like an hour, where I can dedicate to it. I'm not even turning it on really. So
Nice.
any other
It's-
open world games. So
It's nice when games appreciate your time like that. Like it's especially like some games that are just so grindy. Like, yeah, I get like sometimes you want to experience the grind, but when games kind of appreciate your time like that, where you can pick it up and put it down, or you can still grind it out if you want to, it's just the best feeling.
Mm. And then back we have Nic Barret over there. I'm sorry, Nick with no K.
With no K.
How's it going, buddy?
It's going good. I am really sleep deprived.
I can tell. I saw a few yawns over there.
I
Like,
have been
holy crud.
so like
You know, you volunteered to be here. You don't
I
have-
know, I did.
Go sleep.
I've been a little off with going to bed for work. So I'm looking forward to the weekend when I can sleep in. But aside from that, I have been playing a lot of Persona 5 Strikers to get ready for Tactica coming out at the end of the year. But honestly, I kind of want to go back to Tears of the Kingdom because I beat the story and then I was like, okay, I'm going to take a break just so I don't like burn myself out on the game and end up hating it. And now I've put it down and I see everyone on Twitter talking about it. I'm like,
Because a lot of people are getting to my point where they're finally getting to the end. Yeah.
now I kind of want to go back and play it. I got more shrines. I just got my my guide this past weekend, so like I can go through and get the stuff that I was missing. There's some armor sets, some shrines and stuff. So I'll probably end up going back to that in like I don't know, next week sometime. So, but that's what I've been doing. Just Persona and then eventually back to Zelda.
Nice. I'm sitting over here trying to share the podcast on Threads because it only works on phones. Got to be on all the social networks.
Yep.
So we can just kind of hop in. Wait, yeah, Eric, you said what you played. Yeah, you did. I forgot you went first. All right, let's get into our first topic. This is kind of a interesting topic because it's still evolving as we go. Talking about how the FTC has lost to Microsoft, or as some people are calling it, PlayStation lost to Xbox, which is kind of weird because the FTC made it all about PlayStation when really this isn't about PlayStation. And that was probably the number one issue with what they were doing is this really wasn't about PlayStation and they made it about it. And the judge seemed pretty annoyed that they kept making it about PlayStation instead of talking about consumers. That being said, there's a lot that's happened. So I got some recap for it and then an update that happened shortly before our podcast went live because an appeal has been filed. We'll just throw that out there. The FTC is appealing the decision, which doesn't really mean anything. It just means it goes to the 9th District Appeals Court and they decide if they're going to grant the appeal or not. That's about it. They could just not grant it and it's irrelevant. Or they could grant it. They're just going to look over the judge's decision, glance at the evidence, and decide if an appeal is really going to change anything. And based on a quick Google search I did, the FTC has not won an appeal in nearly 15 years. So, and they haven't been granted one since 2009. So I'm just going to go on a limb and say the FTC appealing this probably doesn't actually mean that much. And all the appeal can do, if it gets approved, it doesn't mean the deal's dead. It would just basically mean that the trial kind of happens again with a new judge. That's pretty much it. And if the FTC doesn't have anything new to bring to the table, I don't really foresee how it's going to go differently. But that's assuming that they even get the appeal granted because they usually don't. That's just the way it goes with the FTC because it's funny when you look at the history of the FTC cases, when they lose them, they usually lose them pretty bad. And if you read the judge's ruling on this, it does not look like the FTC presented much. That being said, let's go into what was actually going on. So the FTC lost its injunction against Microsoft, which would have delayed the purchase of Activision Blizzard King for at least a year, possibly longer. In reality, this would have actually killed the deal, as Microsoft stated they were not going to litigate the purchase for years, and they would have paid the fee to back out of the deal, which was reportedly a $3 billion fee to back out of the deal. So the injunction wouldn't have killed the sale, but it would have effectively killed it because Microsoft wasn't interested in waiting years and years and years through litigation to go through this deal. They want it done now. So, by the way, the deal is supposed to be done, signed and sealed, and July 18th.
Next week.
Yep, next week, July 18th. So this is super quick. And another thing about this appeal is if the appeal isn't approved, like let's say it gets approved later, but isn't approved before July 18th, the sale still goes through. So it's kind of this weird thing that the injunction can technically possibly happen even though the sale's already gone through and it wouldn't actually stop the sale. And then it goes into a whole bunch of other, because the injunction, by the way, the injunction they wanted to happen to delay the ability for the sale to go through. Now that was the whole point of the injunction. But if the appeal doesn't have a decision on it before the 18th, it won't stop that anyways. And the injunction was never, the injunction doesn't stop the sale once it's happened. So it would just become something different. And honestly, the FTC's appeal probably wouldn't even matter at that point. That being said, that's why it's a whole kerfuffle at the moment where obviously they filed it now because they're hoping to get it approved. Probably won't, but we don't know. It's up to the appeals court. So while this doesn't end the FTC's fight against the deal, it does greatly lessen the chance that their grander case will be able to do anything. They have two other cases that will take years to litigate out. As it stands, there's nothing in the United States preventing the sale from going through on July 18th, and that's still true despite the appeal being filed because it hasn't been approved. The FTC's antitrust suit won't happen for another year or two, and based on the results of this case, it's likely that they probably will come up with nothing, and the FTC probably knows that. That's why they're really heavily banking on getting this appeal approved and hopefully getting a different judge to overturn the ruling. The FTC, because a big thing here is Judge Corley stated pretty firmly that they believe there's nothing the FTC can provide that will show this meaningfully creates a monopoly or hurts consumers on the whole. Judge Corley was very thorough in the explanation on why they denied the FTC. You guys can go read it if you want. It's a couple pages long. But she was very thorough in basically going point by point through everything the FTC brought up and why none of it really has anything to do with what they're supposed to be doing. It's kind of funny. If you paid any attention to the case, you'll know they very much tried to pit it as PlayStation versus Xbox, which they're supposed to be worried about the consumerism aspect and if it creates a monopoly, not so much if it hurts Sony a little bit, who's, in the FTC's own words, they called them the market leader. Interestingly enough, 5 minutes after this ruling came down, the CMA backed off a little bit. It's kind of weird because their initial judgment still stands, but the CMA isn't technically the legal body that can block the deal. They're like the FTC of the UK. They're trying to get the deal blocked in the UK, which Microsoft has already stated publicly they could have the deal go through without the CMA's approval. This would mean they can't sell Activision Blizzard King games in the UK, basically. Is all that would mean. That's how they can circumvent that. And you might go, well, if the FTC succeeded, couldn't they just not do it? It's an American company. Mm-hmm. So, if the FTC won the injunction, then it's done. All right. So that's sort of the long and short of it. So the CMA is backed off. They're actually trying to come to an agreement with Microsoft. So sort of a settlement agreement, getting Microsoft to see if they can alter any of the possible terms of the deal without it needing to be relitigated. Because there's some terms of these deals, because it's a legal deal and it's a big purchase, that they alter certain terms, they would have to relitigate everything across the whole globe. So Microsoft wants to avoid that. So the CMA and Microsoft are seeing what could maybe be done to assuage their concerns, which their concerns, for those that remember, CMA's concerns were entirely about cloud. And I'm not really sure what more Microsoft can do, considering they've signed 7 cloud contracts with other companies. I'm not really sure what more they can do, but that's whatever. That's not really the big part of it. It's just kind of a fun note. But the deal is basically all but done, pending if the appeal gets approved, which could basically just delay it another couple weeks. But it would still be done by August at that point. Basically, the moment the appeal case is over, if it still rules in favor of Microsoft, the deal would still go through. And that's pretty much it. Right now at this point, assuming the deal is signed and done next week, good news for Switch fans is we get Call of Duty for the next 10 years, probably starting next year.
Finally, I've been waiting so long.
What does this have to do with Nintendo on a Nintendo? That's the only part of this that really has to do with Nintendo. And I'm going to say this. While the legal system really knows nothing about video games, Judge Corley did put in her statement the Nintendo Switch is a direct competitor with PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series. They completely dismissed the FTC trying to argue the Switch does not count this generation. They're like, no, it very much does. Yeah. And there's a statement she made in the thing where she said, you could argue the Switch, this is the judge, by the way, said you could argue the Switch is better than PlayStation 5 because you could take it off your TV and play it in the airport.
Yeah.
Damn.
That was great.
It was like a mic drop moment. I'm like,
back.
You're trying to say it doesn't count because of the power difference? Well, guess what this can do that the PS5 can't? And it's like, oh, damn. The judge even knows that. It's like, holy crud, the judge knows more about video games than you. Judges aren't supposed to know things about video games. This is weird. Anyways, by the way, that's not going to end the fan debate over whether it's this generation or PlayStation 4, but it was kind of funny where they're just saying, hey, you can't just say the Switch isn't a competitor. So, and the other thing she put in there in her final statement about how Switch is a competitor, she didn't just end it at, that little mic drop moment. She actually put in the final statement, because it has most of the most popular games are also on there that are on the other platforms. So like the Fortnites, the Minecrafts, stuff like that, NBA 2K, etc. So they said, well, not all of them are there. Most of the ones that are really, really big that are on the other platforms also are on Switch. So you can't say it's not a competitor, is basically her argument, which is pretty much true. Obviously, Call of Duty was the one it didn't have. And she also went on to say the FTC failed to, she actually said, quite the opposite of the FTC's claims. The facts of the case find that Microsoft's actually providing Call of Duty and other Activision games to more consumers than what it currently serves at the moment. So that was kind of a fun point because they were trying to argue that, consumers would be hurt, but how are they hurt when more consumers get access? It was sort of a catch-22 the FTC never really explained in the case. So anyways, what are your guys' thoughts on all of this? Because I've kind of been dying to talk about this topic because it doesn't really pertain to my channel outside of, hey, we're getting Call of Duty.
It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild stuff. So I was just reading that I believe the CMA kind of said that any modifications to the current terms will need a new investigation. So they're kind of working on it, but they're kind of also trying to delay it past next week, because I believe that if it's not closed next week, I think Bobby Kotick said when he was testifying that they're not going to extend it or anything. They're just going to take the $3 billion and walk away. At least that's what he said when he was on the stand.
When he was on the stand, yeah.
So
and
that's basically the game plan is
there's
for both the FTC and CMA basically is to kind of just delay it, because they know they're going to lose if eventually it does get litigated.
The FTC's entire appeal is their Hail Mary. This is a Hail Mary. If it's approved before the 18th, sweet. Maybe we killed the deal, unless Phil can get them to be like, hey, they're doing it next week. Like, let us go one more week.
Yeah, right.
Just so that could be like an agreement. Hey, they're not extra. This isn't like extra months. It's happening right now. The appeal's right now. Or the appeal doesn't come through in time anyways, or it just gets denied. Like most people sort of suspect that it will be denied anyways, because the FTC's usually deny most of their appeals. And this case was very interesting because the judges the appeal court would basically have to look at the facts, glance at the judge's findings, and completely 100% disagree with the judge's findings. And that's pretty rare in appeal court. That appeals usually work on something that was a very tight decision.
Or I believe they brought up too in the FTC statement that the judge's son does work for Microsoft, but they knew that before that
would have been something they would have needed to bring up beforehand.
Right. So I think it's just a Hail Mary to kick the can down the road for like another 2 weeks, really.
Yeah, and it might not even matter. So it's one of those. It is a Hail Mary play. We can't dismiss. Sometimes Hail Marys land. That's why it's called the Hail Marys. Every now and then it works. But the most are kind of looking at this as if you glance at everything, what could the appeal court see in the facts that would make them think that the FTC has anything at this point. But again, a lot of us aren't lawyers. The crazy thing is the lawyers are the ones saying that I don't know how an appeals court could grant them the appeal because of just how the mounting evidence and the like everything the FTC said was focused on Call of Duty not being on PlayStation, and they have Microsoft and Phil Spencer on record over and over and over again saying it's going to be on PlayStation, it's going to be on the next PlayStation, yada yada yada.
Right.
So.
It seems that they kind of went the wrong route by choosing the PlayStation route instead of like saying, hey, look, they have all of this cloud technology. They're going to have all of the games and to go after the cloud.
Cloud. And
FTC went opposite where they went heavy on Sony.
Yeah. So, man, it's crazy, dude. I'm sort of miffed, because I heard a lot of people say, oh, it's over today. And I'm like, there's going to be an appeal. If Microsoft would have lost, there would have also been an appeal. Like, there's clearly always going to be an appeal. It's just the appeal might not matter. So the biggest thing, obviously, when people look at the CMA, Microsoft's already made their public statements that if the CMA doesn't approve it, they're going to go through with it anyway, which really just means the CMA, if they don't approve it and Microsoft goes through with it anyway, is really just hurting UK consumers by eliminating games from the market. Which, I mean, Microsoft's willing to give up that market, which you might go, isn't the UK a really big market? Not compared to the United States. Like, if they have the US market, that's the breadwinner for them. They're not, it's the breadwinner for Call of Duty. And they'll still have King, which is really that's the moneymaker. King, they're worth $50 billion on their own. Like, most of this deal is paying for King, not Call of Duty. So and King's massive. Like, to put this in perspective, did you guys know that Candy Crush is a multi-billion-dollar esport?
Yeah.
Wait, a multi-billion-dollar esport?
Esport.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know it was an esport. I knew it was
Now, it's funny. You'll only see it every now and then on late-night cable TV, but it's actually all the Korean nations. It's so massive there. It's unbelievable. After watching a couple, I'm like, I get how it can be. I mean, you can turn anything that's completing levels and who does it fastest is an
Tetris, like when was it like Tetris Versus? I mean, they have to just survive long enough. That's always a thing. So no, aren't Microsoft and Nintendo pretty buddy? So this is also kind of a win for Nintendo, because I'm sure they're going to get a lot of stuff out of this.
100%.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
It all depends. Like,
for Call of Duty, I think.
So obviously the Call of Duty deal was pretty easy. based on what we know, that because there were some people that thought, oh, wasn't that deal just fake? No, the deal, that it was a real deal. It was announced by Nintendo and announced by Microsoft publicly. All that happened was there was an amendment to the deal before Nintendo signed it, because some people were like, oh yeah, Call of Duty will be there, but it'll be on cloud. Apparently the terms of the contract were localized versions, so which is cool. It's funny when people, so this comes up a lot, like, oh, here's what it's going to look like on Switch, and then they show up some blurry image moving at 2 FPS. I don't know if people know that Call of Duty can run on Chromebooks that are cheaper than Switch. Call of Duty, the problem is a lot of people that say that only play Call of Duty on Xbox or PlayStation, they don't realize that it's got a huge audience on PC and it's playable on a potato PC.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that it plays well. To be clear, it's not 60 FPS or anything like that, but
play the campaign.
It's functional enough at 30 FPS. And by the way, it's funny too when people bring up the Switch in this. It ain't coming until 2024. It might not ever even be on Switch. It literally could just be on Nintendo's next platform.
I can't wait to be in the airport playing Call of Duty with motion controls again, like I was on the Wii. I just held my Switch up and it was like pop, pop.
Yeah, I can't wait till they make us play on separate servers again, because it's a 2 OP compared to PlayStation and Xbox gamers because of the motion controls. And the funny thing is that came up with the Wii U, because they were having cross-platform play with Wii U, and then they realized, oh crap, everyone on Wii U is just using Wiimotes. We gotta stop. It's an unfair advantage. It's an unfair advantage with Black Ops. We gotta put them on their own server.
That is crazy. That's like something that is a benefit with motion controls, is the first person Twitch stuff.
Well, I mean, it's why they don't like PC gamers play. Like, it's not fair to use mouse and keyboard against a controller. Exactly. And that's basically, you gave us a mouse pointer.
The real question is it motion controls or mouse and keyboard better at first person shooters? That's what I want.
It's crazy too, because if you really want to get hardcore at it and your friends aren't paying attention, you can mouse and keyboard Call of Duty right now on Xbox. It literally works. Just people don't think about doing it. Oh, I'm just going to use my controller. I'm like, yeah, but if you want to just click to win, it's there.
What is Xbox just going to release? Like, I feel like at this point, the Xbox should just be little mini gaming PCs that you just plug everything up to. And because, I mean,
it's
you can
Windows.
sell a gaming PC for, exactly. And it's already Windows. You can sell a mini gaming PC for $400, $500, and it can run like most games at like 60 frames, whatever.
I would buy that.
Yeah, everyone would buy that. And then it still has the same like functionality as like a mid-range computer. Easy. Yeah. That would kill. PlayStation would be gone. PlayStation would be out. They'd be back to selling TVs and making fridges.
That's pretty bad. I don't know that they'd be gone.
I don't think
I mean, you could argue that Nintendo would be gone then too. There's a lot of exclusives at Sony.
No, that's a gross exaggeration, but yeah.
That's the Nintendo simp coming out that wants Sony to die.
I want to see the wild
burn.
School. Bleed red. No, anyways.
Anyone else got some thoughts on this?
I mean, I can't believe the FTC. Well, I can. Would bring that weak of a case. I mean, it just seems like even the judge was, like you said, was just kind of sitting there dunking on him, and just like, no. Sorry, Dikembe Mutombo.
Yeah,
no.
Stopping lines of questions.
Yeah, right.
Just stop asking about Call of Duty on PlayStation. It's been asked and answered.
Yeah, right.
After you rephrased it 17 times.
It's just you'd figure you
where'd your 20% market shift number come from? Because I don't believe that 20% of PlayStation gamers become Xbox gamers because of this.
Yeah,
it's like, that's a pretty stark shift. I don't think that happens when they still have Call of Duty. I don't really. Did you do it? What was it? She said, oh, so that 20% of Call of Duty when exclusive. Did you do one if Call of Duty stays on PlayStation? No. Well, then you literally have commitments here under oath. It's staying on PlayStation, and you don't have any numbers for your
not
choice.
Necessarily because Sony didn't sign it. So
no, Sony didn't sign the deal. So the contract deal just contains obviously the guaranteed access, but it contains the revenue split.
Right.
But like, they're not.
I know they're not stupid.
It's not leaving PlayStation. That's where most of the money's made on Call of Duty.
Right.
They're not. It's worth billions of dollars of revenue to Activision Blizzard. They're not taking it off of Sony.
Microsoft CFO said like this deal has to make money. It's not a deal that they can like lose money on. They need
Microsoft
to
basically
make money
the
right
board
away.
was not willing to write off $70 billion and say we're good. Have a
No.
good day. Like we need to make money. Oh man. But yeah, it's quite interesting to me. I think some of my favorite takes are supposed Switch fans that are mad, and they're mad because they don't want Call of Duty tainting our console. And I find that
What?
I find those takes to be
What?
quite
That's a weird
interesting. You
thing.
could
That
just
is the
not,
most.
you could just not play. Is it tainted more than Fortnite? I'm confused.
Those are the same people who say I don't want Fortnite on Switch because it taints
Yeah.
the console. Then don't play it.
Yeah, no one's
Like-
making you play your Zelda, play your
Oh.
Mario. No one's making you play third-party games. Guess we can't
Man.
have Doom Eternal. It's too mature for this audience.
That's the most Dorito licking or finger licking take I've ever heard.
Like, I don't look. Don't be that elitist. We
Yeah.
no. Let's not become the things that we often rag on when other fans of other systems sometimes get super elite about our platform. Like, no, dude, we have fun. We're supposed to be the fun platform. Everyone loves us. We're Nintendo.
Also, the more games, the better. Like,
Yeah, variety of games. I don't see what the problem is. to
We
be
don't-
honest.
does the Switch have a big first-person shooter?
A big first-person military shooter definitely doesn't have a big military one. There's a couple like Sniper Elite, a couple others, but nothing that's really super big military shooter wise.
Yeah.
First person overall,
Overwatch is probably the biggest one, right?
maybe
Oh, yeah. I
Overwatch
forgot
or
Overwatch was
maybe
on.
like the Doom Eternal stuff for first person. I mean, obviously we have Fortnite, and that's actually has a pretty big install base on Switch, but
I mean,
that's
Yeah.
what I
not
play
first
Fortnite on.
person. That's third. That's over the
Yeah.
shoulder. So
It's kind of impressive how much, I guess, because it's just, children. It's so easy for children. For parents to give to children, and just for a child to operate a Switch as well. Like just that you give them the Switch Lite and they just go. I mean, it's just like when you used to get Game Boy, right? If it had Fortnite on Game Boy, imagine. That'd be crazy.
I mean, does anyone think, even after 10 years, does anyone think Xbox is just going to take Call of Duty exclusive? So I think the number one argument they brought up is, hey, we've had Minecraft for more than 10 years and it's still on everything.
It would have to shift the console. Like they would have to
Yeah.
be selling way more than PlayStation in order to do that. Then
Yeah.
So-
I would also think Call of Duty's value tanked so much
Mhm.
that, like, it's
Yeah, I could see that.
they could be like, we'd rather get the extra subs or a couple extra console sales versus selling on Sony because now it doesn't sell that much. Which at that point, well, then that just means Call of Duty finally crashed, which a lot of people have been waiting for it to crash, but it keeps coming back.
Yeah.
And I think with Warzone now, I mean, it ain't going anywhere. Warzone found its way into that huge battle royale market. So Call of Duty's gonna be around a while, unless Warzone 2 ends up tanking really bad.
I think they're launching Warzone Mobile this year too, so that's going to be
Yeah.
massive.
And Call of Duty Mobile is really big too for them. Too.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest.
Like Call of Duty
platform for
Mobile,
Call of Duty.
and like all the money made is going to be basically from Call of Duty, King, World of Warcraft, and then Diablo Mobile. Like it's they're
Oh,
this
yeah,
is an acquisition
Diablo,
Microsoft
too.
looks as a
Wow.
long-term profits. So-
Yeah, and I feel like Microsoft in general is playing the long game in this whole. If out of the three, they're playing the long game, the smart with the game. They're right now.
Yeah.
They're consuming, and then eventually the Game Pass is just going to have everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. Like it's a very like reasonable deal. They're basically gonna. I don't know. The strategy seems like they're trying to take like a Netflix or streaming service model with it, where it's like we have all the games and you buy access to the library, and instead of you buying each and every individual game. I don't know. Long term, I
It
think
feels
that's
like what
the goal
Google
is,
Stadia
but
should have did.
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Their streaming service, the streaming part actually worked. How they chose to deliver games was the mistake. Should have just
Yes.
been a subscription service, but
Yep.
it is what it is. They missed out on that. They left the door open for Microsoft, which it's funny because one thing we found out in this case is that Microsoft, at least the way they were framing it, obviously they're always going to frame things to their benefit. They were sort of framing it like they feel like they're failing in the cloud market. And I found their arguments for it quite interesting because the FTC didn't really have a response to it. And I feel like that's where the FTC should have hammered them, because Microsoft's whole point on saying they're failing in the cloud market is it costs them more money per person streaming than they make. And it's like, but yeah, it's a long-term play. It's not you're not supposed to make money on it now. Like, that's the point you press FTC is like they just admitted they're taking losses but not killing the service. That's what you press, that they're willing to lose money in order to dominate the streaming game. And the FTC, like Microsoft opened the door wide open to it, and the FTC did not take the bait. And I'm like, man, you are not. This is exactly how the CMA got them. Like, they opened the door, and the CMA said, "No, you're trying to dominate streaming." And the FTC is like, well, Call of Duty is it's only going to be on your service, right? No, we signed deals with all these other companies. Okay, you're focusing on the wrong thing here. That is the one thing.
They were doing it was like, you get a deal, and you get a deal, and you get a deal, and you get a deal with all these streaming companies. You guys like, I think some of them I've never even heard of before.
Like the NVIDIA one is the one that people know. So like, that's kind of cool. They're doing that one, but it was interesting. There's a couple other interesting facts that came out during the case that I thought was just sort of like the way Sony has worded a lot of their contracts over the years, because some of that details came out about preventing games not just being timed exclusives, but also sometimes just being, you can't even release on Xbox in 10 years or you're paying us money kind of deals. It was kind of some weird, kind of showing that Sony for a long time has been making deals to keep basically anti-competitive deals. Is what they've been doing.
The anti-consumer, anti-competitive.
Yeah. It's sort of the anti-competitive deals, but also they weren't necessarily always buying the companies up. And Microsoft, it came up that we found out through this court case, the FTC, why they bought ZeniMax. It's on record now. It's under oath. Again, they could have reasons to lie. I don't really know about this, but apparently the word, it's not even the word of the street. This was said in the court case by Microsoft that the reason they bought ZeniMax was because they had heard that PlayStation was trying to buy exclusivity for Starfield. And Microsoft has never won an exclusivity for a game away from Sony when Sony enters the negotiation. Sony just gets the game every time. Microsoft has never been able to buy it away from Sony. So they said, well, what we can do is just buy the company.
This
is on record.
That is such a Microsoft play.
We'll just buy the company. Now it's ours.
Yeah.
So that's kind of funny. Like, oh, you're trying to buy the game? Yeah, we'll just buy the company. So it's kind of funny how possibly Sony continuing to try to block games from Xbox might have directly led to Xbox making that purchase in the first place. Again, this is under oath, which you would assume that, under fear of perjury, that they wouldn't lie. But you know how the legal process goes. Obviously, lies end up out there. It's whether or not they ever get caught for it. And this is a lie that, unless a paper trail pops up, they're not going to get busted for it, because you're talking about, well, why did they buy it? Okay, well, because Sony was going to do. Is it believable that Sony might have been trying to go after exclusivity for Starfield? Yeah, it's perfectly believable, because look how many games they do that with all the time. So, anyways, so we'll see what happens. I'm pretty confident that I'm going to wake up on the 18th and this deal is going to be done. I'm pretty confident. Yeah. So,
I think one of the I guess better things to come out of this deal is maybe we can save Activision from all of their scandalous stuff that came out over the last year or so.
Yeah.
Oh, I brought this up on Twitter because everyone's like bitching about acquisitions, or like give all these people are, I'm just anti-acquisition. And I'm like, I don't think you understand that they have to sell.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, their investors told Bobby they have to sell. Well, why did they? Oh, shall we revisit why they have to sell? Well, let me see. Somebody committed suicide because of the shit happening at Activision Blizzard. Oh, and by the way, through all of that discovery, it came back out that Bobby Kotick threatened to kill his assistant way back in the day. And Activision Blizzard just straight up said, yeah, we know. And it's like, no, this company has problems and is being sued out the ass by the state of California and by the federal government right now. and their only way out is to sell and let it be somebody else's problem, which it's not going to end up being somebody else's problem because this is how it's going to work. It's under new leadership. It didn't happen under us. They're going to pass it all off to Bobby and everyone else to deal with. And that's what people kind of like. Bobby Kotick is going to get a massive payday when the deal goes through. He always was. He's one of the majority shareholders. So he obviously was going to get a huge payday anyways. But the thing is that doesn't mean that he just gets to ride off into the sunset. A lot of these lawsuits are still going to fall at his lap. And he's going to have to go through all that now because he's super rich. I mean, he might just go live on a private island and just get a slap on the wrist. I have no idea. This is kind of how this stuff goes. But because he's going to try to pass off blame to the directors and the other people running different. Yeah, this is how it goes. I'm protected. I'm at the top. I didn't know. It never made it to me. As you're shredding documents. Yeah, they got caught shredding documents as well, by the way, after he lied to the public that nothing happened. So, like, it's been really bad. Like, this isn't one of those things where it was, as I said on Twitter, this isn't one of those things where they were accused of something and we haven't seen evidence. They didn't even present it to the public until they already had the evidence. They had the smoking guns and they showed the whole world. And it's like, shit.
California was getting info for a while on them.
Yeah, they were working on the case
that.
for like 3 years before they made it public. And it's like, damn, they had everything. Like, there's just nothing they could do to deny this actually happened. So they had emails, they had text messages, they had witnesses. Like, they had just a whole, the Cosby, they had everything. All the sexual harassment that was going on, they had all of it, including what led to the unfortunate suicide of the one employee, which is very sad, and a big abuse of power that led to that. It's just, oh man. So yeah, they're in huge trouble. And I brought it back up on Twitter because I think people don't realize what this is really about. This really isn't about Microsoft versus PlayStation. It's just about Activision was an evil damn company doing some super shady shit, hurting people and actually leading to someone dying. That's what this is about. So if Microsoft isn't approved, they'll sell to somebody else. It'll be Tencent. It'll be Apple. It'll be Google. It'll be the Saudi Arabia oil company. Like
Amazon.
Like, yeah, Amazon. And here's the thing. You think about all those options, how many of them sound like they might maintain the status quo? Is Amazon really going to maintain the status quo? They can't even get a game to launch in their studios. Like, does anyone want Apple getting their hands on it? Because they definitely don't want anything on anything but Apple. Like that,
they would exclusive that market share big.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, and Tencent, oh, they might try to maintain the status quo, I suppose. Also, that means like not fixing the company and leaving that.
Right.
I feel like Microsoft maintain or would be able to give them the best like reset in terms of just one, because they have such an already well embedded corporate structure, and then two,
and their controversies with this
have,
similar stuff. They actually went through. They didn't have someone die, by the way. That's very like that's a unique situation in Activision Blizzard that happened. But Microsoft had a lot of these problems under Bill Gates. That's so long ago, and they've restructured so much, and they have so many females. Like, there's even a new head of gaming that's going to be coming up next year. That's a female. Like, they clearly have the structure in place where it feels like they would take this quite seriously. Like, they would clean house. They'll try to keep the talented developers, but clean house of the actual problems.
Yeah, and have the resources to maintain Call of Duty, Overwatch, whatever.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for the Overwatch community, because that's probably like half of the reason why the game is just completely not in a good state of play right now. I just remember like
the number one thing they advertised.
Stuff. Oh my gosh, I remember watching the interview, and they're like working from home, and like, I mean, not that working from home is bad, but it's just like you could just, I don't know, the vibe they gave off was like, it felt like their studio had regressed into this small team that is like barely keeping the game alive. And I was like, dang, man, that's so unfortunate. Because like, you know, I may be a Valorant head, but I hate to see a cool game with a huge community like that fail.
Yeah.
And you hope that maybe with this merger now that maybe Microsoft can actually pour a little bit more money into it and
exactly
bring that team back up to a point where they can actually fulfill that promise and get that to a point where the devs wanted it to be, you know.
Exactly.
And I know there was some hope from some that if Microsoft bought them, maybe they start caring a bit more about some of the other IPs they have, because they have all these other developers. So like, you know, maybe putting more time into Crash or Spyro.
That'd be cool.
Or other
That
stuff,
would
you
be
know,
awesome.
freeing Toys from Bob to not have to help out at all with Call of Duty anymore, just letting them work on stuff like that. because Microsoft would have the money and obviously a ton of talented development people under them. I mean, just considering all the people they got from ZeniMax as well, that they could find a way to make all this stuff work. But the biggest bugaboo about that is they've already made a lot of acquisitions, and we haven't seen a lot of fruit out of those acquisitions yet. Now, of course, as we've learned many, many times over, and we just saw this as Nintendo fans with Tears of the Kingdom. Heck, you can say we saw with Mario. We're getting our first brand new, all new Mario game since 2017 as well. And it's not even a 3D Mario. We're waiting even longer for that next one of those. As that development of AAA games takes forever. So just because they bought the studio 4 years ago, yeah, the game from them still might not come out for 8. Like it takes forever to make these games. The few that we have seen, like Redfall, yeah, kind of fell on its face. Under-delivered, didn't quite do what they promised. But people quite forget they have other ones. Hi-Fi Rush. That one actually hit. That one did good. Microsoft Flight Simulator pulled it off. Great game. Now they have another one coming. They also did it with Psychonauts 2. People forget they bought that developer too, and that game was really incredible. And that predated Xbox Series. So like they've shown that they can get some of the games out. They just haven't shown the consistent release slate that people are still looking for. You know, last year was nothing but the Halo Infinite campaign. That's a rough one. That's rough if that's all you got for a year exclusive wise.
Yeah.
Like But now they got Starfield this year. Is that going to hit? We hope. Look, Bethesda's always been super ambitious, but also Fallout 76. So
yeah, I was about to say.
I just feel like I hope Starfield is like what Tears of the Kingdom is, but like
in space,
sci-fi. Yeah, exactly.
I hope it's the next Skyrim, like that. That it just lasts forever and people are playing it for forever. I mean, there's rumors that it's going to be like my friends call this is a colloquialism. They call it No Man's Lie, but No Man's Sky is good now. Like they've added a lot.
Yeah, it's like Sea of Thieves. It came out. It was like it wasn't really that great, but then once they finally added all the end game content, it got pretty good.
Exactly. So hopefully it won't be like that, and they can have it. Or even if it is like that, they can still kind of build on it and make it better. I don't know. We'll see. Because space western would be so fun to play.
I watched that Starfield gameplay they did at their direct, and honestly, it looks like the Star Wars game that I've always wanted. Like I wish if it had a Star Wars skin, day one.
Did you watch the rest of that? Because there was a Star Wars game that was very similar to that.
Yeah,
looking similar to that. Yeah, is that the one, the Ubisoft one?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that one looked incredible. Got to see it come out though. Ubisoft's got this thing where their games look really incredible, but then they don't always deliver. But we'll see.
Yeah, true. Like Ubisoft makes me nervous.
By the way, since Ubisoft came up and we didn't talk about this because it's not necessarily Switch related, we don't know where the game is going. The creative director did pass away for Beyond Good and Evil 2. Like the age of 48. So,
oh gosh,
just want to put a shout out there to that creative. No one knows any idea. Creative director is a really big position in game development. So, you can sort of maybe understand why Beyond Good and Evil 2 hasn't come out, because who knows how long the person was struggling with stuff. But just wanted to put that out there because that is a story that was out there that we didn't cover because we don't know if it's coming to Switch, but it is. It probably won't come to Switch anyways. The next system at this point, but yeah, just wanted to make sure we mention that loss in the industry
for sure.
All right,
Nick, did you? I cut you off. I wanted you to continue your thought if you had any more on that. I just
was making
a quick little whatever.
I mean, I was just gonna say, Starfield honestly made me kind of want to get an Xbox. Like it put me on the radar to start saving and consider buying an Xbox, which is something I would not have done.
I mean, Series
prior
S is 300.
to. See, that was the one I was gonna get, but I feel like at this point I need to just get the Series.
I mean, it's going to be better on X, obviously.
Because, I have to have a disc drive. Because I have a ton of Blu-rays, and my Xbox right now doubles as a Blu-ray player.
Okay, yeah, then you gotta get the X.
So I gotta get the X, which is frustrating that there's no in between. But it is what it is.
There is. It's the black edition.
I was
with
gonna
the
say,
bigger hard drive, but
yeah.
it has this display.
Yeah.
I think the S was 200 for Prime Day, I believe.
It was. I was
Yeah.
Dude,
so
the
tempted to
PlayStation
play it.
5 and Xbox Series memory cards were super cheap for a bit. And when I say PlayStation, I understand they're M.2 drives, but the approved M.2 drives for PlayStation 5 were really low the last 2 days on Amazon. So, all right, let's move on.
Hold on.
What?
Somebody had brought up the wiki thing before we started. I don't remember who it was, but
That was
whoever
Fusion.
said
That was Fusion.
Fusion.
Yeah, let
You wanna-
Fusion
you
go.
wanna-
Let him go.
You want to go?
Yeah,
You wanna bring that
something
back up?
interesting
Let
to
'em cook.
round out this topic. FTC. Let's go.
So somebody hacked the FTC's wiki page and changed their
Oh, yeah.
flag to the PlayStation logo before the podcast.
That's freaking fantastic.
So that's pretty good.
That's funny.
It's not.
Yeah, Fusion, you brought that up before the podcast. I'm like, we have to get that in there at least.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Little Sony bonies.
It's very fitting too, because we have this risky Gulmar guy in the chat who's always like talking down on Nintendo, talking about graphics and stuff. And earlier he said, "Oh, the FTC appealed you to change your title. Sony's gonna win this," and it's like you're just kind of proving the point. Yep. All right,
Bonies, baby.
yes, Sony pony, right? Let's get into this next topic. A bit more of a fun one, although a little concerned because none of us mentioned actually playing it. Mario Kart 8 Booster Course 5 is now available.
So I'm saving this for Saturday. I've seen it. I've been seeing people playing it, but I have a group. The collab thing I was telling you about last podcast. That's for Saturday. So
sure,
I'll get to it, but I have not yet gotten to it. But it looks great.
Yeah,
Looks
we got
fun.
8 new tracks. Cool. We got some new characters. Part of this we can speculate on because obviously it deals with the future wave, but has anybody even like downloaded it?
I don't own the game, so
I know you don't.
I played it right before the podcast because I
No, there
saw
we
it
go.
on the notes and I was like, oh, I should probably play it because I haven't
I was
played
gonna
it
play
yet.
it too, and instead I
Yeah.
ate dinner.
Oh, that's funny.
The tracks are good. I really enjoyed all of them, but I also am not like I'm not well versed enough to be like, oh yeah, that one is my favorite because I've just played them all once. I also, I'll be honest, I'm not super invested in them adding new characters because I have my one character that I use and I don't change from that. And most people who play Mario Kart don't. I think adding more characters is for like the younger kids who play who are like, oh, I want to play as this character today or this character today, who don't really have like, oh yeah, this is my Mario Kart loadout, regardless of whether I'm playing online or by myself or whatever. So characters are
mean
cool
not
for
playing
the
regular?
people who want them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
the only thing I would say about that one would be, you know, if I'm playing somebody just because my favorite character is not in there and all of a sudden then they add my favorite character, that in that case, then yes, I would probably switch. But I agree with you. You're set with the one character and you just kind of go. At least that's me too. I mean, so
Yeah, the new character additions are neat, but also not something that I'm still playing with Link. Like it's just
right.
It is what it is, right? Like but it is cool. Apparently no surprise when people are playing online, a lot of people playing the new characters. Well, of course they are because they're new and they're just trying them out and want to be different. But then when you go in and it's Link versus 11 Kamex, what are you gonna do? Not very much variety there. That's the way it goes when they add new characters. That's the way it was back in the day too when they added the original DLC. By the way, this is the second DLC they've added because Mario Kart 8 had DLC back on Wii U. And that's when they got Link. And I remember when he got added, everyone played as Link. So
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
that's just how it goes.
Still plays Link, so.
Look, I haven't played them yet, so I can't comment that much on them. My comments are pretty much the same as what I had when we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Dude, it looks great. I'm really glad they're adding it. Obviously, for those of us that don't play Tour, the Tour tracks feel just like brand new tracks, like anything else. And obviously, that bathroom one they did looks sick. I can't wait. Like that one looks like a lot of fun.
It is really fun. And
Yeah.
I enjoy the tour tracks, but I feel like I don't know. There's something off about them. Like you can tell
Well,
they
they're shorter.
play different.
Okay, yeah, I feel like they were
Compared to
designed by
other-
somebody else.
Yeah. I think
Like,
well,
then
this is
they're not
designed for
the same
phones
Mario
first.
team.
I
Right,
mean, that's
yeah,
the thing.
right.
Is
That's how they
designed for
feel.
phones first, kind of thing. Whereas I feel like because even though that bathroom track, all the new tracks by the way to 8 do come to tour. So like when we got that new track before, it also came to tour. But the thing is, I feel like the ones that come to 8 first through the DLC, they feel like they're designed for 8 and then just ported to tour. Because the tour tracks are neat because they are different. They do play different than the other tracks. So it is a nice mix up at times, especially with like the tracks that are every time you go a new lap, it's a completely different course almost. That's kind of neat, but you could definitely tell they also feel shorter and it just kind of feels like it's built for phones because it was. And I like that when they're adding the brand new tracks, they feel like they're actually built for 8 and then just ported over, which to me is pretty cool. And I'm sure that also makes tour fans happy too. They get new courses coming out of this DLC as well, so that's good for them. I mean, there's a lot of people that like tour. I've actually seen a couple of people out in public playing Mario Kart Tour, and I'm like, oh, first time I've really seen anyone actually play Tour.
It's all right. I've tried it a little bit.
Well, it's like, just like anything. What are mobile games best for? Short burst game sessions. Well, hey, I got this Mario Kart itch. I don't have my Switch on. Go just grab Tour quick and just do a quick race. Like, all right.
I wish they would have taken the costumes for each character and put those as DLC, like they have in Tour. Like they have 8-bit Donkey Kong. They have Mario Maker.
They got a lot of costumes.
Right, there's a lot of
sick.
costumes. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have an 8. Yeah, but it's not like I can sit here and complain with 8 because
No.
well, at the end of this, we're gonna have 96 courses.
Yes.
I mean, what is it for? Like basically 4 or
Jesus.
5 games in one. I mean,
Well, if we go
wow.
off the original Mario Kart, it's like 7.
yeah, right.
This is. I can't complain. It's literally like the Smash Ultimate of Mario Kart games. I don't even know.
You can't say they haven't supported this game.
Well, when it sells to
Well, I know.
over half of the
Yeah.
entire install base of Switch,
Yeah, that's wild to
and
me.
it wasn't even made for Switch, by the way.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
a port, guys.
Yeah.
It's a port.
They just
Yeah.
keep making money. It's they're milking that cow, and it's still giving it to them.
But yeah,
Oh my
it
God.
looks a lot of fun. Yeah, the some of us at Athens Dash. Yeah, Athens Dash was the one coming from a tour that I was most excited to try out. So chances are after the cast, I'll probably get a few rounds in, and then we'll probably do a tournament at some point, guys. Once they get added to the tournament mode, they're always a little bit delayed getting added to the new cups to the tournament mode. So, but yeah, it's gonna be, dude. It's fun, man. Mario Kart's just fun. I don't know what it is like. I'm honestly surprised we're at this point and Eric hasn't bought Mario Kart. And not just because you've had reasons to because of my work, but also because you legitimately love Mario Kart. But
yeah,
I will say this. Technically, despite the DLC, it's not a new Mario Kart. And you played the hell out of it on my Wii U back in my apartment back in the
that's
day.
very true.
We played it a
Yes,
lot.
yes, we did.
We put we might have put 1,000 hours in playing that
That's
game
very
together.
true.
We unlocked everything.
Yeah,
1,000 hours. Wow.
yeah.
And
It was,
8?
We unlocked
Bates?
everything back on Wii U on this game. And then the
Wow.
DLC came out and we did it again.
and I mean, we were trying to whatever it was 5-star everything.
Yeah,
Basically,
yeah,
or
we were
whatever it was,
doing all the time. We were doing everything. We
yeah,
legitimately, and we don't do that for many games, but we wanted everything unlocked. We wanted all the records. It was
I think it's like the definitive version of Mario Kart. This, or I would say Double Dash, maybe just because that's my nostalgia goggles talking. But this one is, I feel like it's as definitive as you get, and I really don't know how. I saw this trending on Twitter earlier, Mario Kart 9, just because people are always, something new comes out, they're always like, "Oh, what's next? What's next?"
well, we're also kind of hitting the end of this too.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the thing. We have one more wave, and we can make some predictions of what's going to be in that wave. I know there's some leaks out there about it, but it's interesting because obviously there's a lot of other courses we can talk from tour or courses from other Mario Kart games come back. One thing is I think there's only one slot for a new character. Or is it 2 slots? I can't remember left. Two slots. Yeah. So there'll be 2 new characters. I don't know who they're going to be. I hope they're completely new, out of left field new. That's what I hope. I don't know what that means.
Short hair Zelda.
There you go.
I'll take it.
Yeah, there is no Zelda
Where's
in
the
there at all,
kingdom?
so,
Go with Link. That's what they did in the last DLC. Is the characters
with
were kind of out
costumes.
there.
Zelda with costumes,
Ganon and
short
Ganon
hair
and,
and long hair.
Ganon and
That's
Zelda.
Ganondorf. Add
Ganon-
That's what the
Ganondorf.
amiibo were
Ganon and
for.
Zelda.
Oh, Ganondorf in there, the fully ripped Ganondorf. That'd be sick. Have him pounding people like DK does.
With the tiniest little, with the tiniest little bite you can find.
That would be hilarious.
Does anyone here think that they're gonna pull a Smash Bros and announce like Booster Course Pass Volume 2 and do another 6 spread over 2 years?
I feel like at this point they just need to do Super Smash Kart. They need to be real.
Well,
I
this
just-
is so I had this thing, right? It sells incredible, and what Mario Kart 8 I think has become at this point, you could argue it's sort of become like a Fortnite, like a never-ending game. And when you keep adding content, that's what happens. It just literally becomes this never-ending experience. And is it something where they want to stop at 8 and just keep updating 8 forever? Or do they think they can drive more excitement if they drop a 9 that happens to have, say it has 48 courses at launch and they already announced DLC for it, obviously, maybe multiple packs. So let's say it's going to get to 96, but then they're also going to do another 48 on top of that. So it's going to get like 8 to 10 years of support of new content. But then in that initial 48, half the tracks are brand new. That's really exciting all at once. And I kept thinking, like, where can you go from 8? Like, the Mario Kart brand's so big, I don't know that they could rebrand it. But it does kind of feel like the next step is just full-on Nintendo Kart.
Yeah.
Like,
Or
that's how you
even-
expand. That's how
Or
you
like
do.
Smash Kart, like Vlam said.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
But
different
like, I
characters
feel
from
like they'd
different
still call it
franchises.
Mario Kart because the
Right.
brand name
Yeah.
it's too big.
Mhm.
Like, they're got to
mean-
still call it Mario Kart.
Right now, they've already got Splatoon, Zelda, and Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
are not,
Which, by the way, they added all that on the Wii U.
they're
Yeah, they
not
did.
Mario Kart.
No, they're not.
so
I could
what's to
see.
stop them from throwing in Samus or any of the other like Fire Emblem characters?
Yeah, dude, Metro Prime 4 comes out. Drop that
I was
Samus
gonna say,
playable character.
imagine-
Let's go.
Yeah. That'd be amazing.
Put Ridley
know,
in there.
Imagine like I can imagine if they don't go the Smash Bros route where they include like everybody, I could maybe see just like here's Mario Kart Ultimate or Mario Kart Unity. Like it's
Yeah, I wonder if
basically
they go away from
everything.
numbers.
Like they say, just like because 9's always a gross number. Mario Party 9,
And people will be like, is it really 9 because we had Tour?
Yeah.
We also had Mario Kart Home Circuit.
exactly. So I could definitely see them doing something where it's just like Mario Kart everything, and then they do the Smash Ultimate route where they say every card and everything that's been in every other game is here. And
All your favorite franchises.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
Or
even
not
if they just include the stuff in Tour, like people would flip out because
yeah,
there's so much
exactly.
there's so much stuff in Tour, it'd be super easy to do that.
Yeah, you could yeah, if you just integrate all that and with even not even including the other franchises. you
I
just
mean,
keep it in
And
Mario.
people always go like, well, more could they do? Well, obviously, more characters, more this, more skins, more race courses.
Customization.
But there's
lot.
still
They can
more
do a lot
stuff.
more.
There's still more they could do. One, new item ideas. There's always room for new
bring
item
back
ideas.
old items. Like
Bring
there's
back
so many
old
cool
items.
Old items. Yeah.
Bring back modes that maybe like a double dash mode. Like it's just a mode in the game where you can have the double character thing going.
Oh
on.
my god, I would.
It's not like the full
I would
game, but it's a
kill for
mode
that.
that's
I'd be
optional that you
so
can use.
hyped.
Or
Imagine like a or maybe like a collector's or like a collection of it. Maybe they do like how they did for 3D All Stars, but maybe better. But like you can choose like, oh, I want to play it with the physics of Mario
what
Kart.
if they let
Game
us
Boy
custom
or-
paint and skin our carts?
Yeah, that'd be sick. Oh
It's
yeah, that's
in
what they
other
did
racing
DS.
games. Why not this one?
They did that in DS. Well, they let
Yeah,
you do your
kind
little
of. It
logo.
was
Yeah,
sort
they
of,
do-
yeah,
You could do your little logo. That was it.
Yeah.
If I could have
I
one
miss those
thing
days.
in a new Mario Kart game, I want more stuff to unlock. Because I feel
Yes.
like
Yeah.
I've gotten to the point
Yes.
I have like 10,000 coins collected
Yeah.
and I have nothing to unlock.
Well,
Like-
to be fair, it's because this
Yeah,
game
use
came out in like what 2014,
Put an
2013.
in-game shop
I mean-
where you can spin those coins instead of being like, oh, you crossed the whatever coin threshold. You could have like a rotating shop and have you like, oh, spend your coins here. Like
Yeah,
that'd
that's why I
be so
said like
much
customizing
fun.
carts could always be like, hey, it costs
Yeah.
coins to
Yeah.
every time
so
you want to
good.
customize a vehicle or something. Yeah.
and you just
No,
collect.
And it's
points
tied to
throughout
profiles. So then, like, if
Right.
you're on the right profile, then you get that color. If another friend's on his profile, he gets his colors.
Yep,
He
yep,
paid
yep,
for
yep,
it.
yep, yep,
It
yep.
seems to work really well for Splatoon. That's how they do it. They got that rotating item shop, and you can go in, which then also incentivizes you to play more, so you can see the shop when it refreshes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, Nintendo. It's
How
right
about
there.
this?
Dude,
100
they
carts
can-
drop into an island. and
What
the
if they
last
have?
cart
What if they
wins.
have global tournaments going on?
Battle Royale.
What if they have a rotating global tournament going on all the time, like a Splatfest?
Yeah,
That
And
would
they-
be
and,
sick.
and they
That'd be
mix
really
up
sick.
a different
think-
collection of tracks every time.
They kind of do that ish. Like at the, I don't know if you go to like, or yeah, you may have, yeah, you were at PAX. Like they
Yeah, I
do
was at
the, like the, it's not as much online. They started out online, like the tournament mode that they do to get
Yeah,
people up.
the
but
qualifiers and stuff.
It's not like a ongoing though. It's not like a Splatfest. Yeah, I
Yeah.
see what you're saying though. Having like an
Maybe
event where it's
like
you
I think
get
that'd
more
be
of
a
this.
really cool thing. That like, hey, you have your Splatfest on some weekends, you got your Mario Kart Global tournaments on other weekends, like
Yeah.
or whatever they call it. They probably call it with a cooler name than Global Tournament, but
Mhm.
and then it's like a celebration. You log into your game and like all the characters are on screen dancing like as you're doing stuff because it's like a giant party. Because hey, it's go time, baby.
Yeah,
we're
that'd
trying
be
to. We're
sick.
all trying to win that cup.
Yeah.
A special cup that's only available during. Oh, that'd be sick. What if there was like special racetracks only
Seasonal
available
cups or seasonal
during
tracks.
those?
You could have tracks rotating
Oh.
through season. Yeah.
Oh, see, they could add seasons.
Take notes,
There's no season.
Nintendo.
I don't want a season pass, but you can
Yeah.
add seasons.
But they-
Right.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah, we're slipping
here's
in-
on
we're
danger.
slipping
When I
into
mention
Battle
seasons,
Pass
it
territory.
dangerously
I don't
gets
know if
close
I'm
to
here
Battle
for it.
Pass territory. There's so many good ideas that they can still do. That's what I'm saying. Like Mario Kart 8 is amazing, and just thinking of how much further they could still go if they actually brought out a new one.
I got it. I got
Oh,
it. So the next one's gonna be called Mario Kart Infinite
here we go.
because
Yeah,
they're just
I
gonna
can
keep.
see
They're
that.
just gonna keep going with it.
Yeah, it never ends.
Never
Okay, yep.
ends. What would actually be really cool is if you could,
8K.
all the, I mean, all the tracks, all the characters, whatever. But like, let's say like the new track they just released, you can choose whether you want to play it in super or SNES mode, 64 mode.
Oh,
Just
That'd be
work
cool.
your way
change the
through
graphical styles.
Change the graphical styles
Oh.
of each course, depending
that'd
on
be sick.
like where you want to play, and then your character ends up kind of in that graphical style too, or all the characters end up in that graphical style
I
as you're playing through
imagine
the
racing
course.
around as a flat link. That'd
mean,
be sweet.
yeah,
The old
it'd be-
SNES days.
That'd be difficult to pull off, where because it's like
You'd have to
such
design the
different
courses for every
engines.
single
yeah,
time.
and
I mean,
like
there are
like the
some
different
like that.
versions of the game have such different like especially from like Double Dash to oh my god, Double Dash is such a distinct feel to it.
You, well, yeah,
Anyway,
Right,
that's
no,
how
for
they
sure.
said Double Dash needs to be like its own mode.
yeah,
It's sort of separate. Yeah.
But
But
for like
I
the
see what you're
courses that,
saying.
but the courses that like carry over into like that have gone into different versions of the thing, all you'd have to do is just say you play that course. I mean, so if you
Mhm.
choose Rainbow Road from SNES or you choose Rainbow Road from the GameCube, you play that version of the course. I mean, that's already solves it there. But like the courses that aren't in all the other ones, it just kind of changes the graphical use. It doesn't change the course at all; it just changes the graphics behind it to match that version.
There's
of
so
the,
many
of the
things
software
that-
you want.
there's so many
or
things
hardware.
they could do.
This
Like-
is super nitpicky, but the only caveat to that would be like, I don't know. I don't want to see things in gross N64 polygons.
Then don't choose
That
to
was my
then
that
don't
was my
choose to
hating.
play it. Then
That was
don't
my
choose to
hating.
play it that way. No, just
Yeah,
no, but
nah,
like there's so many things they could do with Mario Kart. I don't think 8's the end. I think there'll be something that they'll go away from numbers, and I could see them going with something that's meant to be like a 10, 20 year game. It's just always updated and stuff because Mario Kart's so big.
yeah.
It's probably the single biggest IP they have
Actually,
at this
We
point.
still have those.
Like nothing sells like this. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what they do next. And I mean, a lot of people are curious to Smash as well. Like there's some assumptions that Smash Ultimate's just going to be ported over to a new generation with maybe another fighter pass. And sure, maybe that's what they do. But at some point, they're going to attempt a new Smash. What the hell is that going to look like? Like it's
Bro, I don't know what. Oh god, what's
like
his name?
think about this. Like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at this point, after this DLC, is basically the definitive Mario Kart game. Like there's so much content.
We
and
got
it's so
the
good.
We have the definitive Mario Kart and the definitive Smash on Switch. So where do you go from here?
We argue we have the definitive
Got a
Zelda.
reboot.
Except Zelda's story based, so you can always go
It would
somewhere
be
with
sick.
Zelda.
To the reboot point, it would be sick if they brought, because there's such a huge scene for Melee. If they just ported Melee over, that'd be so sick. And because then it'd have its own online, and it would solve so many issues with like them and the Melee.
We have
community.
NSO, and it always has online. Just give us the
That's what I'm
game, and
saying.
people can
I mean,
play it.
Well, it seems like with GameCube games, the trend is not putting in NSO and doing ports. So at this
Next
point,
system, GameCube
Yeah,
will be considered
but
classic
I
at
think-
that point.
I think Nintendo would rather
Should be
have
classic.
hell
So 20
freeze
years
over
old.
before they acknowledge Melee exists anymore.
Yeah.
I
So
know one other thing that I'd like to see from that too would be more battle modes.
sure.
That would be
Oh
sick.
yeah, I
Mario
feel like
Kart-
the
Mario
big-
Kart Battle
nobody
Mode.
nobody
ever
plays
talks
it.
about that anymore. Yeah.
I will say this: my kids play a lot of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe battle modes, and there's actually a lot of people playing them online. So like it's got an audience.
Yeah.
The one they have, they just need more.
Mm-hmm.
Need more of them, and they have like different modes in this one. A little like I don't know if you guys play. Like there's ones where you're capturing opponents and putting them in jail. There's also the balloon one. So like they've already sort of added multiple to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's just you can do more. But there's so many more you could go. Like where's our capture the flag, man? Like that would be sick. You have teams and you're capturing the flag. That would be sick. So like I there's like just so many modes they could do with it. And the thing is, we're talking about all this. They might have been developing this game this entire time. Like this could be in development for like 8-10 years at this point since Mario Kart 8 came out. Like for all we know, they're about to. I do wonder if the DLC changed things. The only thing I can think the DLC changed is like, all right, when we drop the next one, it's got to be a bang out the gate. Maybe they just bang out the gate with 96 courses, which would I don't even.
I feel like that's
You know how much that is at once.
Much.
You know how much that is at once. But then again, how does it work? Everything's not available at once. You got to unlock it. So then it might not feel as overwhelming since you do have to work your way up to unlock all the courses. So
isn't that how it is in the base game when
it's
you
been so long since I played
Or-
the base game.
That's what I'm saying.
It's
It's been a while. I don't remember.
I started over. Do I have to
Yeah.
unlock it? I don't remember.
I would a mode I liked, again, back to Double Dash, but I love the bomb version in Double Dash. That was it's so chaotic. And I don't know how
Look.
you would replicate that because I think it's
Since
what
they
do,
refuse to bring
12v12.
F-Zero back, the Death Wheel, just put it in there.
Yeah. Right.
That'd be cool.
Yes.
That would be
Put it-
sick.
Yes.
I want to go
Kirby
back.
Air Ride stuff.
I think it was Fusion, like mentioned it in passing, but like a battle royale.
Yes. That'd be funny.
Not necessarily battle
That'd be cool.
royale, but more of like I can't remember. There's another racing game I played. I think it was Forza, where you have like your 12 players, and then there's no number of laps, but there's a timer, and as the timer runs out, it's
that's
just
sick.
elimination,
Yeah.
and then eventually whoever's left at the end, they win. I think that would be really fun.
So
Even
like
Even if
Super
you
Mario
just threw it in as
35.
like a battle mode, it doesn't even have to be a main mode. I think that'd be
Right.
really fun.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That could
Did
be
you, guys play,
watched.
did you guys play Super Mario 35 online?
It
Where
did
you
for a
just
little
had,
bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something like that where you like kind of what Nick said, where everybody's racing against the time. The lowest timer get dropped until the last person wins. Really, something like that.
That was so fun.
I'll get you good at speedrunning.
I'm so you're like bringing up bad memories of them. Oh, anniversary's over. Goodbye, game. Like, no, what?
Right. I would love to still play that game. Come on.
What are you? It was one of the value adds to NSO. It was a
Right.
free Mario
Yeah, that was-
multiplayer game. What are we doing?
It was so
Interesting
fun.
that they made it a temporary thing, but
Gotta get that FOMO. FOMO for what? It was free. What do we look at? You pulled it with 3D All Stars. Great. It ended up being kind of dumb because it was still available physically for like years. But what are you doing it with a free game? We literally have no other way to play it. What are you doing? Whatever. I still
they
play
should
with
have been-
Tetris 99, I guess.
They should have been rotating art styles like every month, like Super Mario 35 and Super Mario World style.
Well, yeah, that's what they
Super
could
Mario
have
Brothers
done.
3 the next month.
You
and
can't
then,
tell me
yeah.
they can't do it because
They'll
they
take
did-
it away forever.
They have
Come on,
all
what are
those
you
different
doing?
graphical styles like in the Mario Maker games. Like they could have. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it at that because I'm really salty over Mario 35. Like very salty. Like it was. I liked it. Well, as a Mario fan, I liked it more than like the Tetris 99 stuff because I'm like, dude, this is sweet. Because what it reminded me of, as an old school gamer, I remember the OG Nintendo World Championship tournaments where they were racing Mario.
Oh yeah,
And that's what it reminded me of, was the OG Nintendo World Championships where you're racing with Mario. I'm like, this is sick. Anyways, pretty salty. Is there anything else that we guys want to touch on today? Topic 3 is just literally anything else we want to talk about.
I have a story for everybody, a very tragic story. So I went on personal travel, went to the Pokemon NEIC, correct? So on the way home, playing your Switch, right? I'm on the plane. I get off the plane, and then I live in the DC area, so I take the metro home. I get home, and I think about 2 days after the fact, because I was still unpacking, my room was a mess. Missing a Nintendo Switch in my bags. It is gone. I have no clue where it is. I have contacted the airline, the airport, the metro, lost and found. Someone could have my theory right now, someone pickpocketed it, or it fell out of my bag on the metro, because I had like 3 different bags on me, and I was kind of juggling it all. But lesson learned and some tips for you all: if you ever do lose your Nintendo Switch, do all the things I just described, but also you can call Nintendo and they will like completely deactivate it for you. Like they'll just like they're not wipe it, but they like make it not your primary console. And they say if you have like credit card information on there and you're afraid, they'll wipe the credit card information off of it. They can't like spoof it and figure out its location, but they so you can call Nintendo and they'll do their best to do whatever. But yeah, so I had to buy, not only that, I had to buy a brand new Tears of the Kingdom edition, which actually these are pretty easy to find. I was pleasantly surprised that this was pretty easy to get again. And so far, I mean, all my data and stuff, it takes like forever to download it all back onto a new Switch. But for the most part, all my stuff was saved. I picked up right back up with Pikmin 2 where I was at. I put an Apple AirTag in the carrying case now, so if I do lose it, I will know where it is. And anytime my phone leaves home now, I get a notification: you left your Nintendo Switch behind. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm glad that's working still. But yeah, so I have an extra set of like Zelda dock and everything else. But that was really unfortunate. That's the first time I've lost something that big in a long time, and man, did it feel bad.
Are you are you a big physical gamer? Like, did you have a ton of cartridges, or you?
So yeah, I didn't. So thankfully, I kept those separate from the case. I keep them in this little. Actually, give me a second. I want to show you guys because it's actually really cool what I keep them in. It's right here. So I keep them in this. It's a little Pokedex. And you open it up.
Oh, that is really cool.
So I only lost the game that was in the Switch itself, which was Pokemon Legends Arceus. So not a huge loss. I can get another one of those. I think it was $40 the other day. So I can grab another one if I really need to, but I haven't had the hankering to play Arceus. But yeah, luckily I kept this I keep this separate from my dock bag thing. So, but anyways, yeah, that one, I'm big. I'm kind of both. It's like, if I like the game a lot, I'll get it physical. If I'm just kind of like, I don't really care, I'll just download it. Then I'll just download it. That's what I did with Pikmin, the 2 Pikmin games. I was like, I'm not going to wait half a year to to get the physical copies. I mean, I might, but I don't care about Pikmin enough to buy both digital and physical. So I was like, I'll just get the digital. But yeah. Keep track of your stuff, gamers. Don't lose a $350 console like I did. Like this is my 4th Switch I've bought now. I bought technically 5th because I bought a previous girlfriend one, but I bought the launch day one, which is behind me with the cool things. I got the first OLED, then I bought the girlfriend, then I bought the first one of this, and then now this one.
I don't want to talk about how many Switches I bought.
Yeah. Fueling those numbers, baby.
Look, in my possession, in my house, right at this second, there are, just in my office alone, 4. One's Eric's 5, but that doesn't count. So there are 4 Switches, 3 of them OLEDs, But then Yuli has got my my Gen 2 Switch, and then Melody's got a Gen 2 Switch. My daughter and my 2 sons have Switch Lights. So, like, if you do the math, that's a lot of Switches just in my house. Then you count prior Switches I've already given away. And now you might go, why do you have 3 OLEDs in your office? 2 of them are giveaway prizes. They're already given away. I just have to ship them. But they're still here. I still bought them. I still paid for them. So it's like, I have bought a lot of Switches. It is insane. This, I'll just throw it out there. I threw this out there a while ago. I haven't said it in a lot of time. I think Switch is my favorite platform of all time.
It's for sure in my top 3. I think.
SNES used to be. And then I've had some close ones with like I really enjoyed Xbox 360 that era. That era was great.
Yeah.
PS2 was obviously really, really awesome. But
Let's make a console tier list right now. Let's just do it.
Console tier list. Just that's intense.
S tier, Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
End of story.
End of story. S tier, everything else is F tier. Just get out of here.
GameCube is only high because God, if they just brought it back, GameCube, the button layout on the GameCube controller just made so much sense to me. But yeah,
just need an extra shoulder button. It's a perfect controller.
Yeah, exactly. Just give it another Z button.
I mean, I guess you could argue instead of a C stick, it could just be a normal joystick, but whatever. Everyone used it like a normal one anyway.
I'm so nostalgic for the 3DS. Like that was my first Nintendo system that I ever bought for myself. Even though I say bought for myself, my mom paid for half of it because I was like 10. But I do. It's hard because I want to say the Switch is my favorite, but then I have so much nostalgia for the 3DS. But I can acknowledge that objectively, I think the Switch takes the cake. It's not that much of a competition.
Yeah, like SNES was like really big for me. Lots of nostalgia there. All the third party, all the first party. It was great. But man, I always try to think like, what was the moment that I realized that Switch was my favorite? I was like, yeah, had all these great games. It's had these great games for a while. And I think it was probably around the time Metroid Dread came out. And it just kind of hit me that I am playing more games and spending more time playing games on this than I have since I was a kid. And when I think about those old games, as much as I love them, I do technically own more games on Switch than any platform I've ever owned in my life. And there's a reason for that. All the games have been played.
You have money to buy games.
Well, it's not just that. No.
Your parents were the ones buying the games before.
No, I had more disposable income before I had children. I know. Like straight up had way more. When I'm paying $200 rent, and that includes electricity. That included electricity.
Shit,
so
man.
Like I had next to no bills, but I was joking. The problem is a lot of times I was just spending the money on having a social life instead of playing games.
I was going back to your childhood days, not
hey. No, because here's the thing.
I know.
You say that. Yeah. Game rentals were a huge thing back then. I played a lot of games through game rentals. But no, I legitimately look at it and I just go, I like my favorite Mario game. It's on Switch. My 2 favorite Zelda games are on Switch. Some of my favorite games from the past, they're also on Switch NSO. Like my favorite Smash game, it's Smash Bros. Ultimate. My favorite Mario game, it's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Like my favorite Animal Crossing, because of the terraforming, it's Animal Crossing New Horizons for me. Other things I want back from the other ones, yes, but the terraforming is that good. I love it. Like all of my favorite versions of games are almost exclusively on Switch. And then even when I go like Metroid, I really love Metroid Dread. It might be my favorite side-scrolling Metroid game. Oh, well, what's my favorite non-side-scrolling Metroid Prime 1? Oh, what do we have on the system? Metroid Prime Remaster. So I'm just like, it's like every beat, they're just killing it. Like my favorite Kirby game is now Kirby in the Forgotten Land. And I'm like, oh, recency bias. You're just a recency bias guy. I'm like, no, it's just legitimately better. I don't know what you want me to do. Like, I can't. I go back and play the other ones, and I'm like, nope, it's just not as good. I don't know what you want me to do. Like, I I just came to this realization at one point that like when I'm starting to say all my favorite games in a franchise are on this platform or at least available to play on this platform in some form, then what do you say? Like we are in a unique situation where this platform has more games on it than other ones, thanks to things like NSO, where you are getting that mix from the past. You're also you have Genesis games on a Nintendo platform, folks. So let's look in for a moment. We got Genesis on a Nintendo platform. I just
that's crazy.
like
that was wild when they announced that. I was floored. I was like, really? I was like, man, the old console wars are. Imagine showing it somebody in like the 90s. They'd be like, what? That's crazy.
What, you're playing Sonic on Nintendo? Dude, we have lots of Sonic
on a Nintendo.
We have lots of Sonic.
It's
Sonic
all
and Mario
Nintendo
even
now.
play nice and have an Olympic game.
I'm gonna say it might as well be a Nintendo property at this point. Like I know Sega is still technically separate. Which, by the way, can we talk about this? I know this is like totally off topic from what we just read, but I would say Sega's killing it recently. Minus Frontier, they got the Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, and then this new game that's coming up. It looks awesome. I don't know if you guys played the Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. It's one of those like story visual novels. I don't know if you like those kind of things. It's fun. It's also free on Steam, so like, you know, you can it's free. The only thing you're wasting is time at that point. But it's very creative, and it feels like Sega recently is just leaning into like the Sonic fandom's like wants and wishes. Like even Frontier was like, it wasn't amazing, but it was still like, I don't know. It had fun moments, and it was
a lot of people are.
Yeah,
I found that a lot of people. I mean, I played Sonic Frontier, and my big takeaway was, I like the direction. Needs more refinement. I'm excited for if they do another one.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly where I'm at with it. It's a good demo /
Yeah, it feels like they're onto something. It's just not all the way there.
Proof of concept.
It's just not all the way there.
Proof of concept. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you.
Proof of concept, but not necessarily a full game.
That's how I felt about RC.
I mean, it's got enough content. It's just, I don't know. So I keep thinking like, it just needs refinement. I don't know what way. The boss fights are great. Love it. The worlds, like the variety, cool. But like, there's just something, it just needs a little refinement. I can't quite place it. Some people just say it's a lack of content. I'm like, I don't know if it's a lack of content. Like you got to go fast. There can't be something stopping me every, half second. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's some, I don't know how to, like people say, well, how would you fix it? I don't know. Honestly, not my job to come up with it. Just something feels off and I don't know what it is, but I do like the direction. And I can tell that I don't know what they needs, but it's not that far off from being something that I would highly recommend to people. I just don't know what that something is. But
yeah. Something
hey, Sonic Superstars too. Hey.
It looks good. It looks fantastic.
I mean, it's like classic Sonic style. Of course it looks good. Yeah. Man, I don't know, man. This is just like an amazing generation for me. So
It's a shame. It feels like it's like about to come to the end, which is again why I think it's gonna be the Switch 2. I saw someone ask something in the chat.
Yeah.
So we can kind of transition back to this again because I think there might be some updates, small things. I can't remember. The Switch 2 I think is gonna be more of like akin to the new 3DS, where it's like it's new but it's still Switch. If that makes sense. I don't know. That's my gamble, at least. That's what I think it would be. I don't think it's gonna be anything like. It's not going to be like, oh, it's a game jump from like N64 to GameCube or GameCube to Wii, anything like that.
Nintendo Switch Wonder.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. 4chan. Whoa. 4chan.
I actually
October 20th. Let's go.
That was funny.
That was really
hilarious.
funny.
Yeah, I'm like, look, if this had come out before Mario Wonder was announced, I might be like,
maybe
that still is not right. They don't name a game in a system the same. But I mean, hey, at least you.
But we wouldn't have known the name of the Mario game if it.
I'm saying if
it was before.
Yeah, if they did it before, but then announced Mario Wonder, I still would go like, oh, just means it's fake because they just got a lucky guess on a name. But then again. Oh no, maybe it wasn't a lucky guess. Maybe what they meant by it being Nintendo Switch Wonder was just that it launches with Mario Wonder. Oh.
No. They mistyped it. It's actually Wander. Yeah.
Dude, I can't even believe that got posted over on the Gaming Leaks Reddit. Really? Somebody thought that was worth posting from 4chan on the Gaming Leaks
What they're
Reddit.
actually getting it confused for is a Nintendo Switch OLED edition Mario Wonder. edition.
Yeah.
Yeah,
where
That's
they
probably
Yep.
what it's gonna be.
do like a Mario one. I mean, they'll do it. They
Mhm.
gotta
Do with
sell
every
something if
game.
they don't announce a new console. Although I
That-
do love that all the stuff that's coming out now just keeps pointing to 2023 announcement, and I'm
What
over here.
stuff?
No, it was like the stuff you covered. Was it?
I'm with you,
last
Nick. I'm
week?
with you. I'm with you.
Even Nikki
I'm
clarified
copious.
that if it was announced this year, it still would come out next year.
Yeah, I know. I still win though, because
'Cause it's
we got
announced.
something in 2023.
We technically
Yeah.
did say announcement, not necessarily the release.
Yeah, that the Nikki person is saying that they mean it'll be announced this year. What I find is interesting. We talked briefly, I think, last podcast how they could maybe get away with that by like downing the price of Switch this holiday or something, and maybe help them get away with an announcement this year, but release it early next year. There's also that, as the person brought up who super chatted in, a report out of Taiwan that it's coming first quarter of next year. Of course, there's no clarification if it's first fiscal quarter or first yearly quarter, but for first half of next year, and that they're pretty accurate in the past. People point to the Switch thing. The funny thing is with the Switch thing, they said in March of 2016 that it was coming out holiday 2016, and it didn't come out holiday 2016. It came out quarter one of 2017. So technically they were off by a quarter, but still, I mean, that's pretty close. And it probably at that point, maybe it was planned to be a holiday. Like you can see a world where they canceled Wii U and at one point thought they might launch it that year, and then pivoted to the NES Classic, holiday thing and pushing it out a few months.
Was the Taiwan one the case manufacturer that was estimating it coming out?
Yeah,
Q1?
something like that.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
And they're pretty accurate because the reason that they are pretty accurate is because of their information comes from the actual manufacturing plants. Because Nintendo does manufacture parts in Taiwan and China for their components and stuff. So.
Yeah.
So those tend to be a bit more accurate with reports, and so whenever you see Bloomberg say something like, "Oh, according to our contacts at Foxconn," oh yeah, well, that's a huge one that Nintendo uses. So usually pretty accurate, and that seems to be inferred right now that whatever is coming next is entering mass production like this month. Which, what does that mean? I don't know, because I don't know how long they mass produce before releasing systems, so I don't know what that means.
My gamble's September Direct. We're getting it. They're gonna drop it on us. I swear. That's my.
They announced it in a
seal
direct.
of
That's the first
plan.
time they've done it in a direct. I don't think they've ever announced it.
Or like it would be its own like.
Oh, like its own
thing.
event.
Like,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
it would be. It's like
There's
it would
September
be a
event
new
to
hardware
announce it.
direct. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
Or it would be a direct of the Switch, or it would probably be like 20 minutes long or something like that. And they just say, "This is what it is," and have fun. Get ready. It's coming whenever. Because I mean, again, a lot of the recent announcements, ever since post-COVID, we've been getting they announce it either the fiscal / seasonal quarter right before things come out, like Mario Wonder or whatever, and everything else. Like it's right before, like we're announcing it at summer and it's coming out in the fall. So I could see a fall announcement and it comes out late winter, easy. I don't know. That's just me.
I think what wishful thinking. I think this is holiday next year. It's all wishful thinking.
Far away though.
They've never. To be fair, I don't think they do. The only it was the Wii holiday release, because the Switch was the Switch was a March release.
Yep, they did Wii U in the holiday.
Oh, okay.
3DS wasn't. That was early year.
Yeah. All their good consoles minus the Wii we're early spring, so yeah. I'm just kidding.
I have to look up when SNES got dropped. Hopefully that was holiday. Anyways,
SNES.
going way back. But no, I mean, look, they can release it whenever. It's up to Nintendo when they think the timing's right. But I always say holiday because I'm just like, holiday is always a great sales period. That's why a lot of systems launch holiday. It all depends on what they want to do, and if they think. Everyone's like, would they announce and cannibalize holiday sales? I don't know. They never have before. But this is a new Nintendo. We don't know what Furukawa was thinking. He might be a madman. And go, we ain't even look. We have Mario Wonder. We got Mario RPG. We got a Peach game. We ain't worried about Switch sales. We ain't worried about holidays. We ain't gonna stop selling Switch.
No, that's why it comes out this holiday, so they don't have to
worry. We got
Yeah.
this hot stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys. Oh, and by the way, remember that patch that was
September,
announced? That was real. That's legit. Let's announce the graphics update patch for Pokemon. I'd rather you announce a performance update patch.
Yeah, I know, really. Oh my god. I mean, yeah.
Watch.
performance.
The new Switch comes out. They announce a graphics enhancement update patch. It looks gorgeous. Still has all the same problems.
Yeah, it just
Still
needs to
falling
run
through the world.
better.
Still runs at like 12 frames a second sometimes.
It can even look like ass. It just needs to not like. I was trying to grind a team for NAIC. I was actually planning to compete at Pokemon International tournaments for video game, and it is so miserable to grind because of like the water areas and stuff. I mean, you're running like 15, 20 frames per second, like, and just like steady. That's the frame rate, and it's miserable. No, if they drop September and it said, "Hey, it's coming out this holiday," I would eat a shoe.
Here, let's talk about a feature.
All right, let's talk about feature.
This came up on my Twitter today. I'm not going to dive into all the specifics, but there are a lot of people out there, particularly fans of other consoles, even PC, that love achievements. A universal achievement system.
Yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts on maybe achievements in general, and whether it's something Nintendo should do? Like, Nintendo has achievements in specific games. We can't say like they don't ever do achievement. I mean, even Tears of the Kingdom has 100% achievement in it. But what do you guys think about a universal achievement system, and if Nintendo should consider that for the next system?
I think if you asked me 5 to 10 years ago, not 10, 5 years ago, I would have been all for it. But ever since like the Xbox 360 era has kind of died, I don't know. I don't find achievements to be necessary in any gaming thing anymore, to be real. Like, I don't play the games anymore to get the gamer score, to get the things on Steam or the trophies. I mean, they're fun. Like, don't get me wrong, they were nice. It's very much, it was a product of that era, in my opinion, and I don't think it's necessary. I think it wouldn't hurt to have it, as long as it is, doesn't interrupt gameplay. But otherwise, I mean, I think it's just a product of the early 2000s, really. And it was just something it's just persisted in some things. And I think you're really starting to see it kind of phase out, because there's a lot of other like ways to incentivize people to complete your game and have fun with it and gain some sort of EXP and whatnot. So, but anyways, that's just me.
I mean, I never really got into achievements. I was never a hardcore Xbox player. Even when I did play on Xbox a ton, I wasn't a big achievement hunter. So I think Nintendo not having it is okay, because that's not why I play video games. Like, I'd honestly rather have something in the game that is an achievement rather than a little thing outside of it that shows up on my profile that says, "Oh, you did this thing in Zelda." Okay, I did it in the game, though. That's what matters, not that I have a little gamer score that goes up. So I don't think it's necessary. I think the people who want it are really, I mean, almost, I would say probably more hardcore Xbox, PlayStation people who Nintendo is not their main console, because I feel like a lot of Nintendo gamers don't really care about achievements in the same way that Xbox and Sony players do.
You never hear complaints from Nintendo players about achievements. It's mostly Xbox and PlayStation players about the complaints about that. But I would like it for the retro games. It'd give me incentive to go back and like complete some of those. But sometimes that throws me off in games like the trophies on PlayStation. I'll look at it before I play a game. All right, is the platinum achievable? Okay. And then I start doing stuff that I normally really wouldn't do to try and get this trophy or that trophy. And then sometimes it burns me out in the game where I'm like, okay, I'm not enjoying this, trying to get the trophies. And so, I don't think I would really want it. Maybe just for the retro ones, though.
Yeah, like my thing is Nintendo does dabble in it a little bit with some of their games. It would be interesting if they just made a universal system, since everyone else has a universal system, and third-party games to take advantage of it. So I've never been someone that cares that much about achievements. I was talking to Eric about this the other day. Like, when's the last game that I actually looked at an achievement and thought about like getting it? And in World of Warcraft, maybe like there were some raid achievements I wanted to get sometimes, but those raid achievements I wanted to get were also like things I was going to do anyways. I wasn't I avoided achievements that were like out of my way, like go collect 7,000 pelts from a wolf. Like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Like, that's not fun.
No thanks.
But
If I
like
hit it randomly
achievements
playing,
of
sure,
like beating
but-
everything on heroic mode in this raid. I'm like, well, yeah, that's our plan anyways. So sure, I want that achievement because that's the plan. And the achievement is nice to look back and reminisce on that specific memory of that run we did where we took out all the heroic boss fights in one raid. And like, yeah, that's cool, but it's something we were going to do anyways. So I will say that like when you have an achievement, the only nice thing about it is if you're someone who ever decides to glance through your achievement list on games, sometimes it could trigger a memory that maybe you forgot about. That's kind of cool. But I also will say, and I said this on Twitter, and I tried to understand why people how do people become achievement whores? How do people really start caring about platinums or start caring about their gamer score so much? Like, why does it matter for some people that are really into it? Because like some of the arguments out there, like, oh yeah, like your that memory is only for you, but I have that gamer score forever. And I'm like, yeah, but I can't remember the last time I purposely went on Xbox and looked at someone's profile to glance at their gamer score, or went to somebody's profile on PS5 to check out their trophies. Like, I don't care what you did. Only you care what you did. Like, I don't really, having the achievement doesn't change that it still only matters to you. And maybe there's just whole communities out there where it becomes a big bragging rights thing. So maybe there is that sense of like, oh, check my profile, check my achievements, check my platinums. And I'm sure that's a thing.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's a teenager thing. I don't really feel that's something like I'm approaching 40. I don't really care. I don't need to prove my gaming you're better than me at games. I'll just say it right now. Are you younger than me playing 1,000 hours a month? Do you have, I'll tell you right now, all you Tears of the Kingdom players, you got hundreds of hours in? I'm about to beat the game sub 80 hours. So suck it. I'm not as good as you. You're better at the game than me. It's cool. I can accept that. I don't really care. It doesn't affect my enjoyment. So like I don't really care how good or bad other people are.
Yeah.
The only time I cared was when I was trying to play like competitively.
Yeah.
Like I don't really do that much anymore. So and even then, I wouldn't care what your achievement was competitively. I care that when you're on my team, do we win?
It's more like the bragging rights thing where, especially like with Final Fantasy 6, people are like, hey, just got that platinum in Final Fantasy 16. It's my 159th platinum. Like, on Twitter, people post stuff like that. It's like, all right, well, I'm not beating the game twice to get the platinum. Sorry. So have fun. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that it was even brought up. Again, like I was saying, it feels like such a product of like 2008 to like.
But yeah, it's not, man.
Like I'm like,
every
it's
game
just not
on
a thing anymore.
Has it.
It's
every game on all other platforms has them. All of them.
Wow.
It'd be interesting if they did bring it. Like you could turn it on or off. Like if you want to, and by game, like you put in a new game or you download a new game. Do you want to play with achievements? Yes, no, and you can change it on, off, whatever. Or and then I mean, living like Eli said, you know, if you do bring that like achievements in, give you silver coins or platinum coins for your Switch account to redeem for some of the
items,
that
the stickers and calendar and the
Yeah.
wallpapers. Like, yeah, I guess that's cool because that adds like a value to it. But I don't know, man. Like, I always look at it as I'll never play a game because it has achievements. It's not the purpose of me playing. But there are so many people that like, I need to get the achievements. I need to get the platinums. I need to this. It like makes you feel more fulfilled. I think sometimes for some people, like it was brought up like a bragging rights thing. Oh, I platinum this. Cool. And
I'd like to see the achievement of, like,
so you're a bigger Spider-Man 2 fan than me when that comes out because you platinumed it and I just beat it.
I'd like to see the achievement of first person in the world to beat this. I don't know how you track that, but that would be a cool achievement.
That was one thing.
Achievements that are exclusive. That'd be cool. Yeah.
That existed in World of Warcraft, but it was tracked by outside websites. But that was a big thing back in my hardcore raiding days. It was like being world first in certain raid kills. Yeah, that's probably still a thing. I don't know. I'm not a hardcore raider anymore, but I'm sure it's still a thing for guilds chasing the world first kills.
achievements can be super. I know you can like turn them off. It's an accessibility setting.
Yeah.
I like playing. I remember playing The Last of Us and having those like super heartfelt breaking scenes, and it'd be over, and then you get the and I'm like, oh, it's okay. I just have tears streaming down my
worst is
face,
when
but you know,
in the middle of a cutscene.
oh my
I just
God,
beat a boss. I got the achievement for the boss, and you're popping up in this emotional cutscene. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I like to get immersed when I play, and you guys.
Exactly.
You guys saw this happen when I was streaming like Tears of the Kingdom yesterday, my 6-hour stream. There were moments I was so into the game, I forgot I was streaming. I was sitting there talking trash to Phantom Ganon, just talking trash. I'm like, just shit talk. And I forgot for a moment I was live. And I'm like, oh, you're going down, cocksucker. You ain't gonna do it. I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, I'm so into this right now. People in the chatter, I'm looking down and I'm like, oh crap! I just said that out loud.
It's a good thing you're not
when you're in, but when you're so in the game like that, the last thing I want is a pop up on my damn screen kicking me out of the game. Like I just. Because it's a reminder that it's just a game and you kick me out. And I'm like, but no, I'm so immersed right now. Let me just go and enjoy. Like, I don't play games for achievements. I play games for the I mentioned this before. Like, is a movie better? Because if you got to the end, it gave you a 10-point gamer score for completing the movie.
Imagine
everybody
on the way out,
like,
they give you little things. Yeah,
I'm on season 5 of Suits, and I get an achievement because I went 5 episodes. I watched the entire credits. Here's your 100 point
QR code at the end that you
does that make it a better show or movie?
Yes.
No,
100%.
All right,
yeah,
Nick.
my score would be so high. I can grind that score out. I'll take that.
Right? It would just be happening because I'm doing it anyways. Like that's what I mean. Like on Switch, would I have a crap load of achievements and a pretty decent score? Probably, because I just play a lot of games on Switch. It just happens. Would I have a lot of platinums? No, I don't 100% anything. I don't do any. I want to. I play games for fun. Like when I hear people say that they need like an ROI. This was a big one. I need a return on my time investment. Isn't it the entertainment that's the return? And if it's that's not good enough, you need a score on top. Then do you really like playing video games, or are you addicted to the score? I often wonder, because I know there are achievement whores out there, and I often wonder, do they even like playing the game, or are they just addicted to the score? They just want the bragging right, but they don't really fundamentally have fun when they're playing.
I think I had a moment when I was growing up where I would be playing. I was also like on the Achievement Hunter grind for a bit because I watched Achievement Hunter and I watched those people and I watched them. I had a moment of of consciousness where I was like, oh, I have free will. I don't need to be doing this. We were like hunting achievements and stuff because we wanted to be like them, and we downloaded this free game called Doritos Crash Course. It's fun, but for anybody in the chat who knows, it was a Wipeout-esque 2D platformer that you could do it multiplayer with your friends. So it was free, it was multiplayer, it was fun, but it was we would grind it to get like the free 1,000 gamer score out of it. And when I was playing it, I just had this moment of like, because it looked like it used like the shitty Xbox avatars and you jump through the stage and all that stuff. It was a fantastic game. Like, don't get me wrong, it was great for what it was, but man, I just had this moment of like getting sucked out. I'm like, I don't need to be hunting these fake points anymore. Like this, I'm part of the problem, or not problem, but anyway, you know what I'm saying.
And that's what I wonder. Like when I hear people say I need my return on investment, I'm like, well, if the joy of playing a game isn't a good return, then like you need to find something you actually enjoy in life. You're kind of just wasting your time doing something you actively don't enjoy for points that don't matter. It's like whose line is it anyway when they're handing out all those fake points and they don't really matter? Like, the points don't matter. It's just a joke. It's an in joke for the whole show. They really don't matter. Okay, but this isn't a joke. You think it matters. It means nothing. Oh, it means I did all this stuff. Okay, can you tell me the last time you had fun? Well, dude,
I did have
this
fun
one-
with
I do. When I was playing Warzone, I chucked this one knife that bounced off a fire hydrant and it bounced off a helicopter and headshot somebody. That was fun. Was it an achievement? No. Okay. Well, then how'd you have fun? It wasn't an achievement. It should be. I petitioned. I'm like, oh, just enjoy, have fun. Like the memory of the I don't know. Like I understand. Well, here's the thing. I'm not anti-achievement. I want to make that clear. I'm not anti-achievement. I literally have always stated I'm cool with Nintendo as a universal achievement system. Like there are people already right now running around bragging about their 100% completion, the game says, in Tears of the Kingdom. I know it because I've seen it. I don't care that they 100%. Like no matter how much they want to brag about it, I literally do not care that they 100% of the game. It's irrelevant to my life.
I don't think you could pay me to get all those Korok seeds.
Yeah, that's
Right.
That's the big one. If you complete all the quests, cool. You know, you got all the shrines, cool. You did all the light routes. The Korok seeds, man. Did you really need to go get another pile of poo?
Nope. Not
Yeah.
doing it.
Just to get 100%. Yeah, gotta have the 100%. It has to say it. I had someone message me after my stream yesterday because I'm gonna be, for those asking, after seeing people asking, I will be beating Tears of the Kingdom on stream tomorrow during the day at some point. What's interesting is I had people message me after I was done with that stream, being like, "Are you really gonna beat the game at sub 80 hours? And you've only done what 50 shrines and." like you're not even a real gamer if you do this. You're not playing the game the way you should be playing it. And how can this be your favorite game of all time? You've only played like 10%. I'm like, well, one, I don't know what percent I played. All right, like it'll tell me after I beat the game, I guess. I also don't really give a shit, to be completely honest. Everything I've done in this game is blowing my mind. I don't. You're right. There's a lot I haven't done yet. You know what that means? If I'm already this happy, like, look, if I have 80 hours of pure bliss in a video game, that is amazing. That doesn't happen often. And the fact that there is so much more for me to go do and continue having bliss with, and I'm not even getting into the crazy builds yet. I'll do that when I'm late in the game and I've done everything I want to do, and now I'm just fucking around taking out King Leox with crazy mechs and stuff. Like, yeah, I could legit say it's my favorite game of all time. I don't need to 100% something to say that. Because it's my favorite game.
You're not a real gamer unless you 100%.
I'm not a real. You're not a real
gamer. Yeah.
I was told I wasn't a real Zelda fan once because of stuff like this, and I'm like, get the.
That's fighting.
Oh
words.
my.
Let's go.
Oh my. Go ahead and tell me I'm not a Zelda fan.
You need a
I'm
golden
not
star
a
to say
real
that you're a
one.
real fan.
I don't 100% and replay all the games all the time. Look, I got the Fierce Deity mask in majority. Like, get out of here. There's times I go all the way. But it's just, I don't do it that often anymore. Why? I'm older. I have other shit going on. And every game now, like, seems to require hundreds and hundreds of hours to do it. It used to not be that way back in the day. To 100% games growing up, it didn't take 500 to 1,000 hours. You know, you can be 30 hours in 100% a game. That's just not the way it is today. Every game wants all of my time. No, the game gets the appropriate amount of time I'm willing to spend with it. And if I loved every second of it, cool. I'm going to rate it appropriately on my list of games based on my experiences, not based on how much I haven't experienced yet.
Okay, I have a totally off topic because again, this is kind of, you said it was kind of just open mic, right? So I don't have one off the top of my head, but does everybody here have like a sleeper game or like an indie game that on the Switch specifically that you would highly recommend playing to either chat or myself? Because I like to find, I've been looking to try and find some small games. I mean, they don't even have to be cheap, just things that maybe aren't as like mainstream.
You got a great multiplayer one for you.
Oh yeah.
Boomerang Foo.
Boomerang Foo. All right, let's pull this up.
We played it during Prime Gaming Fest, and it was, oh my god, that game is amazing. It's not even that expensive. It is so much fun. I got to introduce my kids to it. They're gonna get addicted. They're gonna get so addicted to it. It is so fun. It's got 2 different modes in it. All these different, and I think it's got online as well. Oh, it's crazy. Yes. Yes, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Then I don't know how many people know about that one. And everyone's talking about that diver game now on Steam. That's coming to Switch later.
Dave the Diver. I've heard about that one.
Yeah, that one's coming to Switch later this year, so that might be one to watch out for.
Okay, so you said Boomerang Foo.
Yeah,
I'll write this down.
I don't know if the Dave the Diver one's as much of a sleeper since everyone's talking about it now.
Yeah, it's kind of blowing up.
But I mean, it's blowing up because it's good. I've watched some people play it. And I'm like, dude, this is fun. This is crazy. This is awesome.
Nick, what about yourself?
It was a great concept for a game.
I'm gonna say one that I have seen.
Fall Guys.
Maybe like 2 people talk about it's an indie game called Katana Zero, and it's like
Katana Zero.
It's a side scroller, but it's really fun because the whole premise is you can't get hit at all.
Yep.
Like you can maybe take one hit,
sick.
but then if you take any more than that, you restart the level. But you have all these cool like time slowing powers, and you can reflect bullets with your sword. And that's probably the most fun I've ever had with an indie game.
Yeah.
This looks like
that's a very good
what's
game.
that? What's the party game where everybody's running? It's like a 2D platformer, and then you like if you fall behind, you die.
Oh, speedrunners! I love that.
Yeah,
game.
it looks like speedrunners, but with like, oh man, what was that? I can't Hyperlight. It looks like the Hyperlight Drifter art style mixed with speedrunners. Like this looks.
It also
looks
has
sick.
a really good soundtrack.
Oh,
like
fuck yeah. I'm gonna
it
be
is
playing this.
such a good soundtrack.
Nick, you've hit me. You've hit it out the park. You've peaked. You've hit.
Damn
my
it! You destroy Boomerang Foo.
I mean, I'll still check out Boomerang Foo.
It's a completely different kind of games.
I played Katana Zero on such a whim. It was like $10 on the eShop. I thought it looked cool, and I was like, okay. And I looked up the how long to beat. It's like 5 hours. And I was like, okay, it's a pretty simple game. I loved it. Honestly, I want to go back and play it again.
Those are the best
because it's been a while.
That's
Fusion. You got a sleeper?
Yeah,
well, I got 3 here. I'll go with the most obscure one that I have.
Oh, I'm gonna be eating good.
Right.
Okay.
Well, that's Dusk. It's actually a pretty solid first-person shooter. Kind of reminds you of like old school Quake.
Yeah.
Single player.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a Quake. Yep.
Okay, I wouldn't recommend picking this up now because there's probably nobody playing it. But Friday the 13th on Switch was excellent.
Okay.
And then coming next month, I'm sure people have heard of this. Vampire Survivors.
Is
an amazing game.
I played that on my phone. It's good.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, I love that. I love finding like little indie games or just like little, I don't know, games that are just like take a couple hours to beat. It's just little snacks, little nice little snacks. Yeah, I don't think I have one on. I mean, Ultimate Chicken Horse is very much mainstream, so I wouldn't call that a sleeper. Awesome. But I love Ultimate Chicken Horse. If you've never played it, definitely play it. I'm like looking at my library. I'm like, some of it's not my library is not fully downloaded yet because of my.
Yeah, I know. I have a bunch of indie games from my other Switch. I never reinstalled them because I already beat them, and I was like, I'm trying to remember which ones they are because I have to go back to the eShop to look at it.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Well,
that's one.
Like that.
Human Fall Flat. Human Fall Flat.
Oh yeah, Human Fall Flat's great. I've played that before. That's a good one. Excellent.
Yeah, there's
I'm trying to see. There's a bunch in the
chat
right here.
Lumberjack Bear, Tinykin.
To the left. I've heard a little bit. I've heard a little to the left. I saw someone stream that one. That's the only thing that sucks about the games like that, where it's like when you've seen it happen once, if you watch it, then it's like kind of ruins the game. The only thing I would say, I watched Unpacking once, and Unpacking is similar to that, but I will say I thought it was going to be like that, but then I played it and it was still different because you can kind of put everything in the house where you want it to be. It just kind of spoils the story of it. That's all.
Ooh, Doki Doki Literature Club.
Oh my gosh, I love that game.
I forget that it's
genuinely
on Switch.
my number 5 game of all time.
It's a good game.
Damn.
I didn't think I was gonna like it because I don't like I mean, I wouldn't really consider it a horror game, especially when compared to
I
stuff
would
like
definitely
FNAF.
consider it a horror game. It has
It's
got some
pretty close.
fucked up psychological horror.
Oh yeah,
themes to it.
absolutely.
I would
didn't think I was-
100% consider it horror in some vein.
I didn't think I was gonna like that, and then I played it, and initially I was kind of skeptical, and then I played it again, and I enjoyed it so much more. It's actually the only game I've ever double dipped on. I bought it digital, and then I ended up buying the physical because I loved it that much.
wow.
Mhm.
Nice.
Visual horror novel. That's maybe the best way to.
It is
Yeah.
definitely,
Horror.
and they do a very good job at the beginning of the game of being like, hey, this is not suitable for kids or anyone
Yeah,
under the
yes,
age
they
of
do.
18.
Yeah.
Do you want to read through the
Are
trigger
you
warnings?
sure?
Like, this is not for everyone.
Because Doki
Yeah.
Doki Literature. Oh, this sounds like a fun game to get from my kids. A literature club reading. No,
Yeah.
no.
Cute anime
it-
girl visual
No.
You need
novel,
that there, but
cool.
it also like slightly. I find it best when I boot it up for a friend, and then they have more of the shock value of like they don't see the warning and stuff. They just obviously you need to make sure that they're like okay
Right.
around that.
Yeah.
But that's honestly the best ways I've experienced that is with like a group of friends. Someone else has booted it up and we're all just like experiencing it together and half of them don't know what's going on. And then boom, you're like, whoa, it goes crazy.
Oh,
So,
that's a great one. Is that released on Switch already? Spirit Fair? I played it
Spiritfarer.
on PC, but that
PC.
one's Spirit Fair is great.
fair.
That's a very good one.
Oh yeah, I've seen this game. This game looks really good.
Yeah, they've had it in a
really
couple
cute.
indie worlds before.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people like it has like a really cute story, and it's like, isn't it about like basically people like passing into the overlife or the afterlife?
Yep.
Excuse me. not
You're
overlife.
the boat fair like
It
fair
looks
to
like
the
it.
next. Yep.
That's so cute. Oh
Yeah,
Okay,
release date
cool.
August 18th of 2020.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've
It
heard of
is- I
this,
see it
and
on
I've
the
heard it's really good.
Nintendo site. So
This looks like a game you should play on Switch. It has that art style to it. Yeah.
Mhm.
I would
I know.
also
Go ahead,
highly
Nick.
recommend Cadence of Hyrule if you haven't.
I have
played
played
it
that.
already.
I got it when it came out.
Such a
It's really
game.
good. I haven't played it in a while, but
Now
I
have
did
you
that.
played have you played Crypt of the Necromancer? That's the big
I
one.
haven't. I know it's the same concept, but
I bought it.
yeah.
I
You
haven't
own, so you
played
got
it.
Cadence because you like Zelda, but you haven't tried what
Well, the music in Cadence was really that was a cool
the
aspect
music
of
in
it,
Crypt of the
so.
Necromancer is out there pretty great.
All right, I'll give it.
I'm
a
just
shot.
throwing it
I
out there
just-
because that's the crossover.
Mhm.
That's those
Yeah,
two
that's
franchises crossed over. Yeah.
that would
Um,
be cool. We should get if they did. What do you guys? I think we talked about. I don't know if was it you guys that we talked about this, or it wasn't you guys, but Nate. Did we talk about this last podcast? We were talking about like spin-off Zelda games. Like, why don't they do more of those? I guess because a lot of them were such flops back in the day, except for Cadence of Hyrule.
Well, so they've actually had some pretty good success when they've done spin-offs. They just haven't ever really gone all in like they have with Mario, but like Link's
Yeah.
Crossbow Training sold incredibly well.
I want a Link's crossbow training too.
Is it actually good, or is that just like a meme?
It's pretty good.
Okay.
It's not like the greatest light gun game. Yeah. It's not like the greatest
Not
light
him
gun
having
game
it
ever.
There you go.
on hand, not
But-
him having it next to him, ready to whip
Yeah.
it out. That's amazing.
He's like, by the
I've
way,
been collecting
I'm a-
Wii stuff lately, so I got quite a bit of Wii games over here.
oh, that's funny.
Yeah, Link's Crossbow
I
Training is
also
pretty fun.
recently rebuilt
But
my
I mean, if you think about it,
collection.
it's basically like Hyrule Warriors, Cadence of Hyrule, Link's Crossbow. Like there isn't a ton. I'm trying to think of like a dud crossover game for Zelda.
Mhm.
I can't really think of one unless we go back to the CDI games, which aren't really crossover. That was just a bad
Oh,
deal.
God.
That was just a
Give me
bad deal.
smooch.
Oh God.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I
Those
mean,
are
even,
crazy.
like there's spin-offs like the Tingle games, but those aren't bad either if you actually play them.
Yeah.
So
It's
I don't
different.
really.
I mean, that's the whole.
I think we should remaster the CDI games and bring them to Switch.
Yes.
I think that's the next
Yes.
move post
Just for
Tears of the Kingdom.
posterity.
Dude, Hotel
Yeah.
Mario, NSO, let's go.
Mario
Yeah.
teaches typing include a keyboard that
Mario
USB
Time
plugs into your
Machine?
dock.
Oh, that's great.
Graceful
can
Explosion
include it-
Machine. I think
Yeah.
that came out around the launch time. Graceful Explosion Machine and Mr. Shifty were fairly
Mhm.
solid. I like.
Oh,
Those
are
are
these
solid,
two
yeah.
more? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
They
those
came around
are good
launch
ones.
around there.
Those are
Um,
pretty solid.
On the spin-off topic, I keep just spewing. I keep just going. Cut me off whenever you want, Nate. What is it called? Nintendo Land. Can I get another Nintendo Land?
Land slap.
Can we?
man.
I mean, can we just get it
man.
ported? I'll just take a
Yeah,
port
just
of it.
port it. Yeah, like I know the one mini game, like the one Mario mini game, wouldn't technically. I mean, you could just have it as online play, but it would be really hard to do because you would need like you wouldn't be able to do it locally. You'd have to be all online. But I mean, most people do that online anyway.
What was that, Mario Chase or something?
Yeah, because that one, the whole point of it is you take the gamepad and you. I guess a lot of those are similar. Where
I was gonna say because like Mario Chase, you could
then the
still,
Luigi's Mansion
you
one.
could still do it. Yeah, you just use a phone. They're already doing it with everybody's 1-2 switch.
Oh yeah, true. Or you could even do a thing where you just zoom in
because
Mario's
the game
perspective
master when
really
you're running
tight.
around, like you could do that with a touch screen. That's not a big deal.
That if they did that with the phone, that would like really because then it'd make it really accessible just to like every party.
Maybe that's why they
ever.
put out everybody's 1-2 switch.
Oh, here we go.
They just
Just
needed to
introduce
make
that
sure
idea.
it worked.
Yeah,
With a
and it
game
doesn't,
nobody
and it
cares
still doesn't
about.
work very well, but it works sort of. Now, welcome to the new VR experience, next generation, with all those patents involving phones and VR headsets.
I can't wait to have my Nintendo Switch 2 inches from my face.
And when I
my
say phones and
cardboard
VR
cutout.
headsets, it's not putting the phone in the VR headset. It's you're in virtual reality and other people are fucking with you with their phones. That's what the patents are.
I already don't like going into VR because when I was in college, I had friends come over and I put a VR headset on, and the only thing they did was mess with me. Like they would sit there and poke me because I couldn't see them. It was really annoying.
VR is sick. I've done a lot of stuff. I have a Oculus Quest 1. The one that has a wire on it before they like locked it. So like that one it's really easy to like upload or like do Steam stuff because the Quest 2 you have to break it and then you can access Steam things. I don't know why oh yeah, there it is. It's by the Switch. But yeah, I mean, I like VR a lot. I think it's almost there. Not quite yet. Give it another 10 years. I think we'll be there. I think the Apple headset,
The Apple Vision.
I think that's the most promising. If what they showed in the trailer thing that they have is like what it actually looks like and how it feels when you're using it, I think that's really promising. I just think it needs to be not
$3,500.
3 months rent. That and I get the idea behind it is why it's that much is because it's supposed to replace everything. Like it's supposed to replace your
all in
phone,
one device. Yeah,
it's supposed to replace all those things. That's why it costs so much. But
it's
you gotta get the
towards
install
the
base
promise
first.
of Google Glass. It's a step towards it.
It's definitely the most promising VR piece of technology in the space. I will say that. And I think if it performs the way that they advertise it, which Apple usually it does, I think it'll be, we're really moving in the right direction. So, but anyways,
I really want to test out those glasses that you plug your console into and then it projects it.
Oh yeah, what are those called? Wait,
I
didn't
really
someone
wanna
sponsor
try
by
those.
those?
Yeah,
They're awesome.
Yeah.
Are they good? Do they work?
They're not.
awesome.
They're actually pretty solid.
Oh, really?
So I wasn't really.
Sick.
So we did a sponsored video and some other stuff on it, and I just thought they were kind of gimmicky a little bit, but also they did work. Like just straight up, they worked.
Mhm.
But then I used them. This is like me just consuming content because that's all it is. It's just projecting a screen. So I was laying in bed, and I was on my Switch, and I'm like, you know what? We have Hulu on here. I never load Hulu on my Switch. I have Hulu. Let me just go watch the show quick. And I'm just laying in bed, and I'm like, this is the most comfortable I've ever been in bed watching a show in my life. And then I realized, holy shit, let me get Tears of the Kingdom back out. Grab my Joy-Cons, put them down at my side so I'm not holding the controller up here.
Oh my
I'm
God,
just laying in bed on my back, and I'm like, this is, oh my God, this is God. Like if you have one of those giant bean bags, like one of those giant beanbag chair things that are super comfortable, like these are the perfect thing to game on. Like holy, and like they work with the PlayStation 5, they work with everything. They're so awesome. Are they You know, I could see myself. I haven't been in a situation yet, but I could see myself using them on a plane. I could definitely see myself using them. It's a very it's very useful in commute situation. They're so cool. You just have to get the right nose piece on so it's adjusted right, so you can actually see the full screen. Man,
Send me a pair. I'll try them out.
yeah, let me get right on that. $1,000. Let me just
$1,000. Wait,
That's the
how much
one
they
thing.
cost?
No, it's 500 for one. It's 500 for one. I think that includes the dock
terrible.
with the one,
Could be-
but still.
Could
It's
be
cool,
worse.
but I feel like the technology is not quite affordable yet.
Yeah, they need the only level they need to go from is right now all versions of them, whether it's this or there's a couple other companies that do them as well. Right now they still take up like the top like quarter to a third of your glasses that you're wearing, because that's like the actual projector. If they can get a way to shrink that down so it doesn't do that, so you have more of the available vision of the full glasses. Because when you're looking at it, you're kind of looking down a smidge to see the whole screen, which to me doesn't.
I see.
But to me, which to me isn't a big deal because my glasses are always down like this, and I'm constantly looking down anyway. So I'm kind of used to just looking down to see things, but not everybody's used to that.
That annoy me. I have really big lenses.
Yeah.
for my glasses,
And you can adjust it. They have a nose piece that can just raise it up like this, which then just looks weird. But then if you're just watching the screen, what do you give a shit?
They do
if it
have
looks
like
weird?
they do have an adapter, I think, for people with
Glasses.
Glasses.
Yeah, they have
I was
a
gonna
glasses
ask.
adapter. Yeah.
yeah.
I was
And
gonna
they, have,
ask,
and they have a version
wear
with
them
adjustable
over.
lenses, depending on if you're someone that doesn't have like super bad eyes, they actually have like lens versions as well. But I mean, it's a really cool technology, and it's not that far away from being something a lot more, even more compact. Like I honestly think, give it 5 years, there's going to be a pair that comes out that's going to feel like a pair of sunglasses, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Like it's really like that close to being that convenient. So
we're getting there. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. I think we're gonna be
like
getting close.
like what they have now works, and it's great. And in certain situations, I love it, but it's not comfortable in every situation. And I don't think we're that far away from it. It's gonna be pretty cool. No, Fusion 64 is not my brother.
I saw that in the chat. I was debating if I
right.
should bring it up or not.
Alrighty then. I have no brothers. I have a single sister who doesn't really look that much like me. Not
So there's
anymore.
some breaking news.
She looks
here.
almost like she looks identical to my mom. Looking in a mirror between those two.
There's been a request to replace the Activision Blizzard name in the NASDAQ 100 index. So it seems like Microsoft is going to close on this Saturday at 12:01.
Yo, it's happening. Microsoft won.
Did they move up the timeline? Can they move up the timeline?
They
I
might.
think that's
They might
just
try
a
to.
deadline. That was not.
Yeah, that's just a deadline.
necessarily-
That's just.
That's
They have to close it by
that's
then.
hilarious because there's no way in hell the appeal is going to be approved before the weekend.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, they're just going to say fuck your appeal. We're done.
Basically, yeah.
Bro, Phil Spencer
Oh,
is
that's
dancing.
hilarious.
He is
We
dancing
got
on
the ruling
Tony
we want.
Boni
Fuck your appeal. We're done. We're removing them from the NASDAQ. They're not part of Microsoft. Have a good day.
Yeah. Wow.
They're like, we did this already. We're not going through this.
Yeah,
again.
it was technically just a deadline. They could do it before then. They just
Right.
couldn't do it till the court case was over. Oh my gosh.
They were
So
kind of just being
basically,
cordial.
they might have signed the paperwork today. It might already be done. They just have to wait till the new week to remove it from the NASDAQ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. That's
Amazing.
hilarious. It makes the appeal irrelevant. Like, oh, you appealed. We see your appeal. We signed the deal. It's over. Have a good day.
It's already over. Yeah.
It's already a done deal. I mean, it's not officially announced. I feel like the official announcement will be on Monday next week. They'll announce like, oh, and then they'll be like, everything's coming to Game Pass starting at the end of the month. Blah blah blah.
We got it all. Spyro, Crash.
Remember that new Call of Duty game? It's day one Game Pass. Blah, blah, and we can now announce it. Everything.
Can you imagine that Game Pass headline when they just show all of those different Call of Duties from like I don't know how many years on 360 and
Oh
just
my
like coming to
gosh,
Game Pass.
yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
Modern
Black
Warfare.
Ops 1, 2, 3.
It's going to
Modern
be
Warfare.
insane. Dude, because someone already mocked up an image because Microsoft did an image a while ago of like all the studios and games that come Game Pass after ZeniMax. Someone updated it with the Activision Blizzard King stuff, and my God, the image gets like I can't even see. Like I'm literally looking at it on screen. I can't even make out everything. There's so much shit.
It's like when you're looking at those like like oligarchy corporate things of like what companies own everything in America. And you're like, oh my
Yeah.
God, there's everything.
Yeah.
Another, you brought up the old Call of Duties like Black Ops and stuff. I remember the midnight releases. What do we think about midnight release culture here at the table? Are we like for it? Are we against it? Like, do we like love shackling up at the GameStop while the smelly gamers and
I used to
and
love
waiting 3 hours for
love
that game? Or
So I did a
sit at
midnight
home
release for, was it Tears of the Kingdom?
yeah, I did as
I
well.
think it was Tears of the Kingdom was the last
'cause
one I
had
did it for.
to, I had to drive stuff
Yeah,
over
you had to drive me a tripod because I was tired of holding my
Yeah.
phone. Yeah, I did a midnight release for that. And I had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
It's
same.
interesting too because like times have really changed. I think there were people that recognized that I was a YouTuber, and that's fine. I've had that happen before. But what was interesting was how like I'm not used to being around younger crowds sometimes.
Mhm.
And so when I had like these college age people there, like someone like these chicks, and I said this joke to somebody and they looked at me like I'm the sickest person in the world. And I sat there, I'm like, my joke had nothing to do with females. I'm confused. Or does it now? Did the language change? I'm so confused. All I was talking about was bang bang headshot with a bow in Breath of the Wild. I don't really know what happened. Why did that offend people? I don't know. I just realized I'm that disconnected at this point. And
Yeah,
I've
dude,
never
it's
felt at a
wild.
midnight release. I'm usually around. These are like my peers, man. These are all fellow gamers. And then like they brought their girlfriends, and their girlfriends looked at me like I'm just.
Gamers have girlfriends now? What the
Whoa!
fuck?
Hey, I had a girlfriend back in my early 20s, so I'm not
I
gonna.
know.
But I'm just like I don't know, man. I it's the first time I kind of like felt a disconnect at a midnight launch. So I'm like, I don't know how many more of these I'm gonna do. Maybe console launches might be it. It might just be console launches.
I do wish I traveled up to New York for that. For like now that I know that they do.
And if I went to Nintendo New York, it probably wouldn't have been a problem. The Nintendo New York launches are just different. I bet that would be sick to go to one of those.
That looked fun. Even the GameStop I went to, they did like little quiz stuff, and they gave out the little armband thing that you got.
Oh, yeah.
I got mine over on my desk.
Yeah, they did like a little quiz. I mean, they ended up giving one to everyone anyways, but they were like, answer the Zelda trivia. Which one had the boat in it? I was like, oh, me. I know that one. You know, stuff like so.
Well, which one had the boat? So look, I think you're looking for Wind Waker, but if we
that
want to
one.
get technical, we got a lot of boats. Them and what games are?
Yeah, exactly. Nick, what about you? What are you a midnight release man, or are you sit at home and let it download?
So I'm a very big physical gamer. I like having most, if not all, of my games physical. If I
thought he was talking about being.
I try,
Dude,
but not really.
I run people over at midnight launches.
I'll be completely transparent.
I pushed a 10-year-old down.
Tears of the Kingdom was the first time I'd ever done a midnight launch, and
really,
I think for me, it really has to be a game that I'm like super. Like the next Zelda game? Absolutely. True. Am I going to go midnight launch for Mario Wonder? No, I'll just wait and go pick it up the next day after work. Like,
I will.
It'd have to be
maybe. I have no idea. They might not even do a midnight launch for Mario Wonder
equivalent.
Yeah, really.
I'd say the next Xenoblade game, but they're probably not going to do it.
They won't get enough pre-orders to do it. Yeah, it's based on.
I'll be the one pre-order in my store. It's so sad.
Oh, man.
Nah, you do store opening launch. You go sit out there, be the lone person walking in. I'm here for Xenoblade, dude. You're the only one to pre-order. Hey,
you're the only one here for Xenoblade.
Hey, man.
Cool,
dude. Then you should just hire me. The next Xenoblade game comes out, I'll be your hype man. I guarantee you, hire me to hype it up. There will be more than one that knows.
I did a midnight release for so my favorite Pokemon generation is Generation 4, and they recently remade those with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and also Arceus. And I did it for Arceus because Arceus looked really awesome, and I was really hopeful for that. So I did a midnight release for that. That was still it was still the tail end of COVID, so people were still like wearing masks and stuff, and they had us outside. But that released at January, so midnight in January in the cold was not fun.
Don't
But
matter for
because
us.
they were
man.
like,
Yeah.
stay outside, because then we don't have to worry about COVID regulations. We'll
Mhm.
bring. They were like, we'll bring 5 of you in the store at a time, and I was like, oh. All right, I guess I'll freeze my ass off out here. And you couldn't get in your car because you had to wait in line. So
Yeah.
that was a time and a half. That's probably the worst midnight release I did, but it was still, it makes a fun story. So I was like, yeah, I'll do it again. Why not? But anyways,
My favorite was when of recent when I went to the Xbox Series X launch, and I was picking up it, and I'm sitting there rocking my Nintendo Prime hat, and some people recognize me, and they're like, "Oh, hey, dude, you're that Nintendo YouTuber. What the hell are you doing here picking up an Xbox Series X?" And I'm like, "Well, for being a Nintendo YouTuber, I held up my phone because I always do live streams of the midnight launches." And they're like, "Dude, is that 1,200 people watching you live?" Yeah, on a Nintendo channel. Let's just say the hype is real. The hype is real for Xbox. I don't know what it is. Xbox had a lot of hype going into that launch, so it's crazy. It's crazy. Midnight launches can be really fun. I'm finding it really depends on what I go for. Like, could a Mario Wonder midnight launch be great? Yeah. You know why? Because children don't come to the midnight launches. It's adults like me.
Yeah.
And it's fun seeing how many 30-year-olds are showing up for a side-scrolling Mario game. So I literally might go to a Mario one just to see how many show up. And again, that's assuming they have enough pre-orders, which they probably will because it's Mario. But there's a lot of fun to be had with midnight launches. And the thing is, I've been going to them since I was a kid. So I've always sort of been in that culture of the midnight launches. I mean, nothing matches system launches. Those are always like...
I'm really
system
excited
launches
for
are awesome.
a system midnight launch. I was too young to do midnight launch. This is probably make you feel old. Because before COVID, I was in college. So early college, late high school to early college, I went through my I'm not as much of a gamer anymore phase, and then I leaned back into it super hard. But anyway, so I didn't go for the launch of the Switch, and then before that, I was too young. Like the Wii U, I was like in early high school or late high school, and then so on and so forth. So I never was able to go to a midnight release. So I did do day one for Pokemon Platinum. I was like,
I was a hype driver, dude. I was a hype driver for Wii U back at launch. So I couldn't get a pre-order. I wanted to pre-order at GameStop. They wouldn't do it. Walmart wasn't doing pre-orders, but I'm like, oh, but our Walmart's 24 hours. And I talked to them and they said, oh yeah, once midnight hits, we do sell what's available the next day. I'm like, oh, so you basically have a midnight launch. You're just not announcing it. Cool. So I went there at 8 p.m., sat in the damn electronics section until finally someone came and put me in a spot. Cause I'm like, hey, no one's put me. What are you doing here? Dude, Wii U launches at midnight. Do you have a pre-order? No. Well, we only have 4. Cool.
4 Wii U's. That's it.
I'm taking one. Do you have both? Do you have the black and the white? Cool. I'll take the black. At the time, I should have took the white. I didn't know that was going to become the more valuable one over time. I wanted the one with the more storage. Turns out the white was the more collectible one. Anyways, but I remember sitting there and literally because it's 8 o'clock, so there's still plenty of people in Walmart. They keep, what are you here for? Dude, Wii U, man. Nintendo's launching their next gen system right now. It's gonna be sick. And everyone's like, "What? A Wii U? Isn't that just a like a tablet for a Wii?" No. This is HD Nintendo gaming, baby. This is gonna be so awesome, man. They got a new Mario game coming out with it. You can't play that on Wii, man. It's gonna be great. And I'm like, and by the way, I was not excited for the new Mario game at all, but it hit me at that launch that like. All these people had heard of Wii U, but none of them thought it was a new system. That's when I knew Wii U was dead.
Yep.
Wii U's dead.
I want a shirt that says I survived the Wii U drought of 2013.
The fact everyone I talked to in the electronics knew of Wii U. So they saw the commercials and still didn't connect the dots to a new system.
Yep.
This thing's dead. And I knew it and I bought it anyways.
Of like all time high key. I mean, just because they didn't know doesn't mean you can't enjoy the.
Oh, it's funny.
But anyways,
so a line started forming right after I started saying it was the next gen system, right? And like, oh, we only have 4, right? No, there's like 20 people in line. I'm like, what are you guys doing? There's only 4.
Oh my
I'm like, what are you guys gonna do if I walk up and just buy all 4? Like, what are we doing right now?
Oh,
Because they didn't say limit 1 per customer. I'm saying I could be that big. Are you gonna do it? I'm like, well, no.
No.
I'm just saying that like a lot of you are wasting a lot of time. Yeah, but some people are gonna leave the line, and this is a big. This is the next hot thing. This is the new week. I'm just like, okay, guys, that's not what I said.
good luck.
I said it is Nintendo's next generation system. It's gonna have some cool games. I never said this is the next can't miss thing, because if it was, you wouldn't have found out about it from a guy standing in Walmart.
I mean,
like that would not have been how you
wrong.
found out that this is the new hot thing. It's not the new hot thing because you didn't know about it. All right, no one was talking about Wii U.
Oh boy.
But anyways, that was the most interesting launch I think I went to, where nobody really knew even the Walmart employees didn't know what I was talking about half the time. Like, oh yeah, well, let me type it. Oh, it says we have 4 of them. What is this, like a new controller? No. I think I'm coming here to spend $350 on a controller. Come on.
Yes.
Come on. Now today that might not sound crazy when the new Elite controllers drop and stuff, but I'm just like, no. Yeah, that was the one that was kind of weird. And then there was one guy that showed, because that's how I worked at Zelda Informer at the time, which, you know, my face isn't in a lot of stuff at Zelda Informer, just my name. And when I went to check out, someone, I don't know if the cashier asked what my name was, or I don't know why they needed my name. I never get asked my name when I check out. You just swipe your card, call it a day. But I guess they wanted to check the credit card to make sure it wasn't stolen or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I'm Nathaniel Rumpel-Jantz. And then this one guy that was right behind me the whole time, he'd been talking to me for hours, was like, wait a second, are you from Zelda Informer? Yeah, I'm the editor-in-chief. Holy fucking shit, sign my console. I'm like, oh my God. You want to devalue your console? I will sign it. So there is one Zelda Informer signed Wii U out in the wild, the white one. It's out in the wild somewhere. And you know what? I signed it both as Zelda Informer and my name. And now I'm like, okay, I'm still a nobody on YouTube. But I don't know. Maybe there's one crazy Nintendo Prime fan out there that might pay a premium for that system.
Mm-hmm.
A part of my journey.
Yeah.
Search eBay, Zelda Informer signed white Wii U. Never know. You never know.
Yeah.
It'd be crazy if that person's still following me right now today on YouTube. I watch they pop in the chat. They pop in the chat. It was me. No, it wasn't. Dude, I'll tweet it at you right now. What the
right. Right.
Holy crap. Talking about connecting the dots.
Right.
All right. I think that's going to do it for this episode. Somehow we almost got to 3 hours again. I don't know how we do it when we had no third topic, but we did it.
I came up with like 4
There's like
topics,
5
so.
third topips.
Yeah. The indie
But it was
games,
fun.
the
Yeah,
Vinci
it was fun.
launch.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was great.
Let me see. Let me go around. Austin, why don't you tell them where they can find you, what you do, and we'll get you all linked up in the chat.
Yeah, so like I said at the beginning of the stream, I'm a Twitch streamer primarily. I'm kind of sort of starting my YouTube journey very soon. You can check me out on twitch.tv/favlam. I'm streaming tomorrow night. I'm doing a versus series with another streamer named Hasty Gloom. And then Friday, I'm doing a Boosted View. People with on my podcast, the Boosted View podcast, are doing like a gaming stream. And then that's the other thing I do. I have my own podcast, the Boost View podcast, where we review old and new games. It just depends. Right now, we're in the middle of the Zelda series. This week's episode is going to be on The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. So that'll be a fun one.
Nice.
I have a very hot take with the Wind Waker series. I think it's mid, but I don't want to get into it. In comparison to the other ones, I think it's mid. But anyways,
I'd agree if you said Ocarina of Time, but you went Wind Waker.
I think Ocarina of Time is also
go.
mid. But anyway.
See, hey, I'm with you.
Okay.
There are
That's
aspects I think are all time great on it. In general, it's mid.
Anyways, so yeah, you can if you follow me on anything right now,
and this is why
my podcast.
I am losing subs is my game.
Yeah. But yeah, follow the podcast. That's all I ask because the Twitch channel is fine. We're doing good, but the podcast I'm trying to get that going. So.
Awesome.
Anyways, that's me.
Fusion64. What do you got going on? Where can they find you?
At Fusion64 on YouTube, Fusion64 Media on Twitter. Tomorrow, every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern, I do my podcast with one of my close friends called the Fusion Cast, where we just talk about this week's news in gaming, what we've been playing. It usually gets on an old game tangents or, whatever. So
Awesome.
I mostly do PlayStation stuff on my channel, but lately I've been throwing some Nintendo stuff in there. Whatever I feel like doing.
Yeah, no. See, I always remember you for PlayStation. I'm like, God, if I ever have a really big PlayStation topic, we got to get Fusion on. Okay, you jotted down on my notes about that because I'm like, I don't have that many contacts that do nothing that like do other things than Nintendo, so it's nice to get a few on. So Nick would know. Okay, I mean, look, I feel like every time you're on, it's something different. So, what do you got going on? Where can they find you?
Okay,
Get some
from
sleep.
here on out, it'll stay consistent.
All right.
I am on Twitter at nerdiestnick, which is like the little handle there. I tweet stuff about video games, anime, movies, kind of just everything I'm into. I also have a podcast, but I'm going to pivot in the complete opposite direction because it's a movie and TV show podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to listen to me talk about movies,
how they should add achievements to movie and TV shows.
How I can get achievements for seeing movies in the theater. That is the Nerdiest Podcast. We just put out an episode on Monday, and we're very quickly approaching episode 100, which I'm really looking forward to. We got a lot of special stuff planned for that, and we have like a YouTube channel. We do original content on YouTube. It's going to be great.
Nice.
So when we hit episode 100 in season 2, how many times is that episode 100 we've hit with
3, 4?
I mean, this podcast has been rebooted how many times?
3, 4.
That's why we're going with seasons now.
Yeah.
When we reboot, it's just a new season.
Yeah.
It gets confusing.
Yeah,
we've had so many layers to this. I think our longest one went 250-ish before we rebooted.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, because every time there's a major change to how we're doing the show, like it was just me and Eric for a long time. So like that went really far. And then we wanted to have guests. And then when we did that, we were like, oh man, this feels like a different type of show. And then we started building sets, and that made it feel different. Now we do this where we have 4, 5, 6 people every week. So it's like, oh, okay, well, this feels different. So now it's got to be a new season at least.
Well, and it's different, like platform layout, things like that. And, so
you know what I have to do though? If I have 5 like this, I should make a background layout that puts something in those black bars.
I mean,
and you know,
good,
like
good.
I can act like I'm a professional. That
yeah,
would be.
I mean,
That would, you know, like a podcast logo,
Right,
maybe.
right.
Something
I mean,
like-
yeah.
Look, we have graphics. We just don't use them. All right.
we have the technology.
Dude, this podcast was literally cobbled together in like the final 2 hours before I went live. So you know what? Be happy. When I was gone, okay, I was gone all day, guys. So thank you so much to Nick Minoke, Fusion 64, and Flam for coming through. Like it, man, it was a very much going to end up being the Nate and Eric show only, which the last time we did it turned out okay, but Eric's already coughing up a storm over there, so I've had to make him talk more. He might be hacking his lung.
Right.
Like you might see it on the table, and I'm like, look, we're trying to, like we could say things like cocksucker and but actually having a lung pop out could get the channel banned. So I mean, you gotta be a little careful there.
Yeah, that would be that.
Anyways, thank you guys so much though for supporting the show. It's been awesome. You can find our show everywhere that podcasts are heard. All the audio versions we're occasionally even play on the radio for some reason on FM radio. I have no idea why, but it just happens. Shout out to iHeartRadio for that. But yeah, we are everywhere that podcasts are heard, and obviously every single Wednesday right here. You guys know what Nintendo Prime is. If you're not and you've only seen our audio version, hey, we are a YouTube channel that posts a bunch of Nintendo news and opinions and all that stuff. We have live streams, usually 3, 4 a week, 4 including the podcast every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Time, where we have special guests come on. I have no idea who's coming on next week. I have no idea who's coming on the week after. That's my job to figure out tomorrow. That being said, thank you guys so much for being here. Subscribe to all of our guests because we all deserve amazing stuff because this podcast is nothing without our guests. And let's all go have a good rest of our week.
Woo!
Bye.
Thanks for having me on.
Bye,
Bye
everyone.
guys.
Peace.
Bye.